Chapter 746. Spirit Pressure in the Milky Way. 1. Yes, I am. I didn't expect a martial emperor powerhouse to be so powerful. Even when we joined forces, we were almost defeated. If we were to fight him alone, none of us would be his match. Fortunately, he entered the Yin River. In the Yin River, he will never be able to come up. Yun Zongshan's expression was one of shock as well. His eyes were filled with fear and dread. However, when he thought about how Li Lingtian had been dragged into the Yin River, his heart calmed down slightly. The thought of the situation at that time was frightening. If it were not for Li Lingshan's 9 heavenly stars that had burst the stone chamber in the main hall, they would have perished if he had entered the Yin River. However, we still have to cultivate quickly and strive for a breakthrough. This way, we will have a greater chance of fighting against the entire Black Continent. The issue with Li Lingtian has been resolved. I never expected Li Lingtian to come to Yunfeng Villa this time. This saves us the trouble of going to Carefree Dynasty. If we were there, we would be the ones to die. Once he enters the Yin River, he won't be able to get out. He will also be devoured by the sound beasts. Even if the sound beasts don't devour him, he will be trapped inside forever. Yunmeng Mountain didn't see the situation at that time, but seeing that the main hall was gone, he could imagine how Canlai looked at that time. However, he had no idea how powerful Li Lingtian was or how powerful a martial supreme could be. Now that the reincarnation pill had been refined, the main thing was to cultivate first and strive for a breakthrough in a short period of time. Then, he would sweep across the entire Black Continent and unify it. Li Lingshan's incident had become history. Let's be careful. This Li Lingtian is too strange. This injury won't allow us to break through in a short period of time. After Darozi recovers, we'll set up a formation. That way, even if something happens, it won't affect our cultivation. Yun Tian looked at Master Cloud Dao. Master Cloud Dao was his blood brother, but his cultivation base was much higher than his. In the Yunfeng Villa, Master Cloud Dao's status was extremely high. Even his brothers of the same generation didn't dare to provoke him. After all, Master Cloud Dao was a saint alchemist and a saint array master. Moreover, he was a pseudo-martial god. Even his brothers would not dare to offend such a powerful figure. I'll cultivate for a few days first and my injuries should be able to recover. After I've recovered, I'll construct a formation. I'm still worried about Li Lingtian, because his alchemy Dao and array Dao are both above mine. If he breaks through that Yin River, we won't be able to deal with him when he comes back. Master Cloud Dao nodded with a cold expression. As he spoke, his expression turned grave. Li Lingtian was a holy array master, a holy alchemist, and possessed powerful and mysterious methods. He was not to be underestimated. Even though he was thrown into the Yin River, he still felt uneasy unless he witnessed Li Lingshan's death with his own eyes. Daozi, do you think Li Lingtian can break through the Yin River? Yunmeng Mountain's expression turned grave. He understood what Master Cloud Dao meant. Master Cloud Dao's cultivation base and methods were heaven-defying in the Yunfeng Villa. Even in the entire Mystic Moon Empire, very few people could compare. The current situation was definitely not simple. He was also wary. If Li Lingtian was really that powerful, it would be troublesome. If Li Lingtian were to break through the Yin River, the entire Yunfeng Villa would be doomed. He was the only one who understood the importance of the Yin River below the Yunfeng Villa. The Yunfeng Villa was located in the Yunfeng mountain range. It had a radius of 1,000,000 miles and was rich in spiritual energy. There was also an endless spiritual vein below, but this spiritual vein was connected to the Yin River. If someone broke through the Yin River, the spirit vein of the entire Yunfeng Villa would disappear, and the foundation of the Yunfeng Villa would be finished. Furthermore, countless geniuses of the Yun family and all the experts would disappear into thin air. That's right. This Li Lingtian gives me a very mysterious feeling. He doesn't seem like someone from this world at all. His methods are heaven-defying, and his thoughts and ideas are beyond anyone in the divine martial continent. His aura, though not heaven-defying and overbearing, gives off a vague sense of threat. Moreover, I also discovered that he has the presence of an ancient aura. It's not just one type, but many types. I'm the only one who can sense this aura. If it's any other expert, Ivina martial god or someone above him wouldn't be able to sense it. Master Cloud Dao's expression was serious, and his words stunned the other supreme experts. Such a thing was simply unimaginable and unbelievable. However, this was coming from Master Cloud Dao. With his status, cultivation base, strength and methods, there was no need for him to lie. If that was really the case, Yunfeng Villa was really in trouble this time. However, it had already happened and they could not stop him. The only thing they could do was to wait for Li Lingtian to die in the Yin River. Once he died, everything would be in the past. All the things that he was worried about could be settled. Why don't we seal the spirit vein for a period of time? We don't need to cultivate during this period of time and focus on healing. In 2 days, even if Li Lingtian is a god, he will be corroded and destroyed by the Yin River's water. Yunling looked at Mount Yunmeng. Although Master Cloud Dao had the highest status here, Mount Yunmeng was still the most influential. That's a good idea, but we have to be careful. The Yin River will fluctuate whenever there's a spirit qi. Li Lingtian will also notice the spirit qi fluctuation. Master Cloud Dao didn't wait for Cloud Mist Mountain to speak, and he quickly brought it up. The spirit vein's spirit qi was extremely terrifying. It could even suppress the Yin River. If the spirit vein was sealed, it would definitely alarm the Yin River. Naturally, Li Lingtian, who was in the Yin River, would be able to sense it. Alright, let's be careful. It's best if we don't let Li Lingtian know. Yunmeng Mountain nodded, then left the hall and walked towards the deep mountains behind the square. Li Lingtian swam back and forth in the Yin River for a long time, but he could not find any exit. Moreover, no matter which direction he went, the pressure would only increase in the end. As time passed, the true essence in his body was also rapidly depleting. The true essence of a heaven-defying pill had already been consumed by more than half. In this place, he didn't dare to use the devouring light in case he couldn't refine the Yin Nether Qi he devoured. The expression on his face grew uglier and uglier. He was already injured in the beginning, but he was on the verge of breaking down when he forcefully used Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch. However, he did not dare to relax at all at this moment. He continued to soak in the Yin River, unable to find the right direction. At that moment, Li Lingshan's expression changed as he exclaimed in surprise. His eyes shone brightly. He looked into the distance, but he couldn't see far in the Yin River. However, at this moment, a trace of light appeared in the Yin River. This light was very small and very fast. It flashed and disappeared. It was not easy to notice as Li Lingtian had only discovered the halo by accident. This halo looked extremely strange in the Yin River because the Yin River was filled with pitch-black nether qi. However, this halo was indeed extremely rich in spiritual qi. It was no different from spirit pressure. It was just that this halo was too small and inconspicuous in the Yin River. Spirit pressure, it's actually spirit pressure. At that moment, Li Lingtian was certain that the halo was spirit pressure. This was because the heavenly spiritual pearl on his chest had already trembled. This heavenly spiritual pearl was a spiritual item of heaven and earth. Although he did not know what use it had, it was very sensitive to spiritual energy. Coupled with his understanding of spirit pressure, he was certain that this halo was real spirit pressure. This was also the research he had done on the spirit pressure after encountering it in the bottomless abyss. He did not expect to discover this spirit pressure now. Since there was spiritual pressure, there was definitely more than just the water of the Yin River. There were other auras. As long as he could find the source of this spiritual pressure, he would be able to find clues. At the thought of this, his tired body became spirited again. His figure flashed and he quickly chased after the spirit pressure that had disappeared. The speed of the spirit pressure was beyond the imagination of the powerhouses. However, if the other powerhouses were to find out that Li Lingtian was chasing after the spirit pressure, their jaws would drop. However, Li Lingtian managed to catch up to the spirit pressure because it was just a halo and a very small one at that. While the Yin River's water was continuously split into two by the destructive aura. When it was 100 meters in front of Li Lingtian, the Yin River's water was split apart by the power of the 5 elements. It could not slow Li Lingtian down at all. Rumble! 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 After flying for an unknown period of time, Li Lingtian was truly exhausted this time. Finally, they arrived at a region of destruction. The water of the Yin River in this place was constantly churning, and a terrifying spiritual pressure appeared. The further they flew, the stronger the spiritual pressure became. Whoosh! He didn't dare to fly forward anymore, nor did he have the strength to fly. His body floated in the Yin River. At this moment, he was no longer soaking in the water of the Yin River. Instead, he was floating in the spirit pressure and Yin River. It was like a place where spiritual energy and demonic energy intersected, just like a place where ice and fire were compatible. This was also Li Lingtian. If it were any other powerhouse, they would have been destroyed by the spirit pressure and the Yin River water. This was because there were two extremes and two extreme attributes. However, Li Lingtian had cultivated the heaven and earth reincarnation art, the ice-fire harmony, and all sorts of heaven-defying techniques. Hence, he was not afraid of this extreme attribute at all. However, his eyes were filled with endless excitement and shock. In the distance, there was a spirit vein. At the intersection of the spirit vein and the water of the Yin River, the spiritual chi was powerful and terrifying, and then it formed a spirit pressure. If he could take away the spiritual energy, he would be able to increase the spiritual energy in the divine dragon ring and cultivate faster. He completely immersed himself in the world of spiritual energy, and did not care about his current situation at all. Chapter 747. 3 Spirit Mountains. The terrifying spiritual pressure kept spinning like a whirlpool in the sea. The water of the Yin River was also cut by the spiritual pressure here, forming an independent space in the middle. Li Lingtian hovered in the independent space as he looked excitedly at the terrifying spirit pressure. This spirit pressure was no longer the spirit pressure halo that he had been chasing after. That was because the halo had already fused into this world of spiritual pressure. What a terrifying spirit vein! It should be good to store this spirit vein in the divine dragon ring. Li Lingtian looked at the terrifying spirit pressure and a faint smile appeared on his face. This smile was the same as before. It was the smile of wanting to take everything for himself. It was the same smile when he collected materials and heavenly materials and earthly treasures. There were a few powerful and heaven-defying interspatial rings. These interspatial rings were the most powerful independent worlds in this world. Naturally, they could store countless treasures, and so could spiritual energy. From the beginning to the end, he wasn't worried about leaving the Yin River. With such powerful spiritual pressure and spiritual veins, he could completely create a heaven-defying array formation. An array that can pass through barriers. Space-breaking divine array. As long as there was strong spiritual energy, as long as one found a critical point, the formation would be able to break through the barrier and pass through space. The premise was that he had to find a breakthrough point. If he could not find a breakthrough point, even the space-breaking divine array could not do anything. Moreover, there was a powerful spirit vein here. The location of the spirit vein was not far from the ground. Therefore, the moment he saw the spirit pressure, he had already seen hope. Heaven and earth flight prohibiting formation. The smile on Li Lingtian's face slowly calmed down. His body flashed once again as he quickly circled around the spirit pressure to check. However, after searching for a long time, he still could not find the end of this spirit pressure. Naturally, he could not find the place where the spirit vein was. At the thought of this, he became even more excited because this world of spirit pressure was even stronger than the world of spirit pressure in the bottomless abyss. The spirit energy vein was even richer than that place. Tang Qingyue and the others would be able to cultivate even faster after storing the spiritual energy into the divine dragon ring. In the end, they stopped and found a better place to start building the array. He took out the divine array diagram, and a stream of light flashed between his eyebrows. A golden light flashed in front of him. The golden radiance transformed into a divine array diagram before Li Lingtian. Although there was an independent space in this place, he was worried that it would be eroded by the Yin River water when the spiritual energy was taken away. He wanted to build a formation here, a formation that could stop the water of the Yin River. This way, he could take away the spiritual energy and spirit vein before the water of the Yin River took advantage of the situation. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A strong gust of wind shuttled through the independent space created by the Yin River water and spirit pressure. Li Lingshan's eyes flashed with a glimmer of light and he wore a serious expression. His 10 fingers moved as he executed many hand seals. All the hand seals landed on the divine array diagram. On the divine array diagram, a faint light shadow gradually formed. This light shadow became denser and denser. Looking closely, the light shadow was a mysterious array. There were also traces of ancient and magnificent aura on the array formation. This was the power and characteristics of the divine array. Seal. A full minute had passed. Within that 1 minute, Li Lingtian had performed countless mysterious hand seals. The spell formed a net. When the last spell fell, the divine array trembled and a beam of light shot out. After the pillar of light appeared, a magnificent array appeared before Li Lingtian. The array formation gave off a faint golden light. It was a defensive array formation that specialized in blocking nether chi. It was a god-level array formation. Li Lingtian had no intention of stopping even after the heaven and earth flight prohibiting formation was activated. Instead, he activated the other defensive formations. Many formations of different sizes stood behind the heaven and earth flight prohibiting formation. These formations were all connected to each other. As long as there was the slightest touch, they would release heaven-defying power. When all the formations were combined, their power increased greatly. After casting more than 300 formations, Li Lingtian was so exhausted that he almost collapsed. However, he did not dare to lie down at this time. Moreover, there was an array below, so he could not easily activate the array. In this river, if one couldn't see the spirit vein, one couldn't see the ground. It was filled with pitch-black river water. Fortunately, the spiritual energy was rich, and it recovered very quickly. In a moment, the consumed true essence and mental energy were restored to their peak. Li Lingtian opened his eyes after his true essence was restored. The divine dragon ring was opened. Immediately, a wisp of consciousness entered the divine dragon ring. He explained everything that had happened outside. If he were to encounter any danger, he had to be prepared to leave the divine dragon ring at once. Because the spiritual pressure was too terrifying, he was worried that he would not be able to control it with his cultivation. If there was any danger, he would call Tang Qingyue and the others out immediately. The dragon qi in the divine dragon ring was from the 3,000 worlds, and there was already endless spiritual energy in it. With the spiritual pressure and spiritual energy, the divine dragon ring was even more powerful. Of course, if he couldn't control it well, the divine dragon ring would release a terrifying and mysterious effect. He didn't dare to imagine such an effect, nor did he want to wait for it to happen. After he finished his instructions, he activated his divine consciousness. The divine dragon ring released a powerful and terrifying suction force, absorbing the endless spiritual qi into the divine dragon ring. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sound of wind was heard as spirit qi and spirit pressure continued to flow into the divine dragon ring. Li Lingtian was also advancing step by step. Just like that, half a day had passed. In half a day, Li Lingtian was already 100 miles away from the array, but the spirit pressure seemed to be endless. However, this was a world of spiritual energy, so it did not consume his true essence. However, as the spiritual pressure was taken away, the river water began to tremble, and the heaven and earth flight prohibiting formation also began to tremble. At this moment, the heaven and earth flight prohibiting formation was like the embankment of a dam. As long as the dam was destroyed, the endless destructive flood would rush over. This was the river, so it was naturally not an ordinary river. If the river water rushed over, he would have no way to resist at all. The only way now was to quickly take away the spiritual pressure spiritual energy this place. When the time came, he would establish a space-breaking divine array to leave this place. Otherwise, there was no other way. Rumble! Li Lingtian did not know how much time had passed, but he could no longer remember. Because he had been absorbing the spiritual energy and pressure at a faster speed, he had completely forgotten the time. The spiritual pressure continued to enter the divine dragon ring. At this moment, a destructive roar sounded. Li Lingshan's body swayed in the air as a look of horror appeared in his eyes. This shocked expression turned into excitement, because in the distance, there were actually 3 huge mountains. 3 huge mountains were nothing, But the main thing was that these 3 mountains were filled with 5 colored spiritual energy. 5 colored spirit stones, Spirit Stone Mountain Range. In other words, the 3 mountain peaks were formed by spirit stones. The 3 Spirit Stone Mountain peaks were 100 meters tall and 10,000 meters wide. They looked huge but exquisite. The destructive spiritual pressure was emitted from the 3 spiritual mountains, and there was a mysterious connection between the 3 spiritual mountains. Loyalty was a seal, and the seal connected the 3 spiritual mountains together. The seal carried a mysterious and destructive pressure. Even though Li Lingtian was well informed, he had no impression of the spirit mountain and the seal. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. The terrifying spiritual pressure and the terrifying rumbling sound were like the wrath of the gods. Li Lingtian seemed insignificant in the face of the destructive roar. In front of Spirited Mountain, he was like an ant. This feeling made him feel uncomfortable and unconvinced. Freezing Sky Altar. Li Lingtian activated his divine consciousness and summoned the Freezing Sky Altar. However, the look on his face turned even more unsightly after he summoned the Freezing Sky Altar. He could not control the Freezing Sky Altar at all. It would be strenuous even if he were to summon the Detective God from the Divine Dragon Ring. The Freezing Sky God Altar was extremely powerful. It could withstand terrifying pressure and attacks. It was also a destructive treasure. A mountain-like Freezing Sky God Altar appeared in front of him and finally blocked the destructive spiritual pressure. However, the Freezing Sky God Altar continued to tremble. Li Lingtian was beyond shocked. The Freezing Sky Altar weighed billions of pounds. Even a martial god would be crushed to death. There was nothing that could destroy or shake it. However, at this moment, it was shaken by the spiritual pressure. One could imagine how powerful the spiritual pressure and spiritual mountain were. After finishing everything, he finally had the time and opportunity to explore the spiritual mountain in front of him. The spirit mountains were all triangular in shape. They were completely neat peaks without any cracks. In other words, these 3 spirit mountains were all carved from complete spirit stones. He did not know who was so generous or who had such powerful means to actually create such a large 3 spiritual mountains. The Spirit Mountain was shocked. The main thing was that the seal between the Spirit Mountains was mysterious. He did not know what kind of cultivation technique or skill it was. A mysterious symbol appeared on the seal. Li Lingtian felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity when he saw the symbol. However, he could not remember where he had seen this symbol before. It was unfamiliar but had a hint of familiarity. He did not know when he had seen it before. What a powerful seal! What a terrifying spiritual mountain! It seems that as long as I break this seal and move the spiritual mountain away, I can leave this place. Li Lingshan's eyes were filled with shock. Based on his array Dao cultivation, he could imagine that he would be able to leave this place as long as he moved away this spirited mountain. However, before he could shake the spirit mountain, he had to break that seal. That seal wasn't an array formation. He didn't know if it was a divine power or some strange method. It was so easy to break it. Even if he wanted to break the array, he had to first understand the construction and origin of this array. Moreover, he was going to break this mysterious seal. If he was not careful, he might even be suppressed here or even destroyed. Chapter 748. Breaking Through the Ain River, 1. Li Lingtian fell into deep thought as he looked at the 3 spirited mountains and the seal between them. This place might be the key to leaving the Ain River, or perhaps the only way out. He had to think of a way to get rid of the spiritual mountains. He had moved the Freezing Sky God Altar away in the past. The weight of these 3 spiritual mountains was probably not much different from the Freezing Sky God Altar. However, there was a seal between the 3 spiritual mountains. If he wanted to move the spiritual mountains, he had to get rid of this seal. He didn't know where this seal came from, so he couldn't move it away even if he wanted to. Could it be that this seal is the Great Bright King's seal, the immovable golden body seal? Li Lingtian thought of all the mudras in his mind, but none of them resembled this one. Just as he was feeling depressed, he thought of the underworld's Da Nang Da Ming Wang. The Great Bright King was an elite of the netherworld and also an elite of the upper realm. This person was the most mysterious person in the 3 middle realms in his previous life. He was both the netherworld and the mortal world. His cultivation base was extremely terrifying. Even in the upper realm, he was a supreme existence. In Li Lingshan's previous life, he was aware of the existence of the Great Bright Lord. However, the distance between the two was too far apart and they had no interaction at all. He thought about how the Great Bright Lord was from the underworld and the human realm, and how they were now in the Yin River. The appearance of such a seal and spiritual mountain reminded him of the Great Bright Lord's immovable golden body seal. The immovable golden body seal was known to be a powerful divine power that surpassed the saint tier. Its power was heaven-defying, powerful, and incomparably magical. It had already surpassed the scope of strength. If it was really this immovable golden body seal, then he would really be in trouble this time. The Great Bright Lord's cultivation was remarkable, and his methods were equally shocking. Even if this seal was cast by him countless years ago, it would not be so easy to break it now. Sigh. I didn't expect it to be the immovable golden body seal. Li Lingtian was hoping that the dermic seal did not belong to the great Maharaja. However, after thinking for a long time, he could only attribute this seal to the Great Bright King. Only the Great Bright King had such a heaven-defying seal. The thing he was most worried about had happened. It was simply impossible to break this seal. Next, Li Lingtian collected all the spirit qi and spirit pressure around the spirited mountain. In the end, he floated in the air and looked at the spirit mountain. His mind entered a state of emptiness, wanting to find a way to break through the realm. Divine Array Diagram. Sacrifice. He took out the Divine Array Diagram again, and his eyes revealed a solemn expression. Ignorance was bliss. However, he knew how terrifying this seal was, so he felt afraid and restrained when he did things. If he didn't know about this seal in the past, he wouldn't have acted so easily and wouldn't have been so afraid. But now, even if he was afraid, he had to make a move. He had never thought that such a torturous day would come. Whoosh, whoosh. One after another, a formation was formed on the Divine Formation Diagram. The 5-element star array was one of the divine arrays. With his current array Tao cultivation, it was already heaven-defying to cast a divine array. Even though he knew that this seal could not be broken by a divine array, he still had to try. Boom! There was an explosion. Before the array formation entered the spirited mountain, the destructive seal emitted a ray of light, which directly destroyed the array formation into nothingness. Li Lingshan's body trembled as a trace of blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. His face was pale as a sheet. He was the one who cast the array. The array was destroyed in an instant, and the one who was injured was naturally him. At that moment, the divine level formation was destroyed in an instant. Li Lingtian was shocked. What a terrifying seal! He exclaimed in his heart. Although he recognized the origin of this seal, he still did not expect it to be so powerful and terrifying. For a moment, he did not have the slightest confidence. His body flashed, and he quickly retreated a certain distance. He floated in the air and recuperated from his injuries. After recuperating from his injuries, he returned to where he started. His eyes sized up the seal. Since this was the key to suppressing the spirited mountain, the seal must be related to the spirited mountain. It would be best if he could think of a way to subdue the seal. If he had a powerful attack to destroy it, he would definitely be courting death. He was just a mere martial monarch realm expert. Fighting against the seal of an ancient expert was courting death. This immovable golden body seal is somewhat similar to the heaven-flipping seal. Li Lingtian calmed down and studied the immobility golden body mudra carefully. Gradually, he realized that this mudra was similar to the sky-turning mudra. Following that, Li Lingtian continued to comprehend his heaven-up seal and slowly began to comprehend this dermic seal as if it was the heaven-up seal. Akalanatha golden body seal. Li Lingshan's expression changed from shock to excitement to solemnity as he shouted softly. A strange hand gesture was performed and a strange aura appeared between Li Lingshan's hands. Instantly, the entire Yin River independent space began to tremble. At the same time, the seals on the 3 spiritual mountains trembled as if they had sensed something. Li Lingshan's lips curled into a smile when he saw this. This seal was indeed the same as the heaven-flipping seal. It was just that the cultivation method was different and the power was different. However, It was the same as the heaven-flipping seal in comprehending the truth of heaven and earth. Gradually, the immovable golden body Dermic Madra trembled rapidly and slowly merged with Li Lingshan's hand gesture. Boom! At that moment, the Dermic Madra left the three spirited mountains and turned into a beam of golden light that shot toward Li Lingtian. Before Li Lingtian could react, the golden light had already entered his glabella. He did not feel anything at all. He could only sense the existence of the golden light in his upper dantian. He did not feel uncomfortable at all. However, Li Lingtian did not have the time to hesitate at this point. Because the three spiritual mountains expanded the moment the seal left, the three spiritual mountains that were originally 2 meters in size became more than 100 times larger at this time. Li Lingtian was also sent flying by the spirit mountain that grew in size in an instant. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Without waiting for any response, the three spirit mountains blasted into the sky at an incredible speed. The array formation cast by Li Lingtian was also destroyed at that moment. The three spirit mountains flew up quickly. Wherever they passed, all the water in the Yin River was pierced through. Seeing this opportunity, Liang Tian ignored the severity of his injuries and quickly followed the spirit mountain. With the spirit mountain leading the way, he did not use the slightest bit of strength. However, the spirit mountain's speed brought about a destructive gale. Li Lingtian cast his defense to withstand the gale. Li Lingtian did not know how much time had passed, but he could not remember. At that moment, a deafening explosion sounded as if the world had been destroyed. At the same time, Li Lingtian felt a destructive force coming at him. Boom! When Li Lingtian noticed the destruction, he used his divine consciousness to block it with the freezing sky altar. Although he did not know what the freezing sky altar was used for, it was the best treasure to resist the destructive power. Just as freezing sky god altar blocked the attack, Li Lingshan's entire body trembled. Freezing sky god altar swayed as well, and he was thrown backward as he spat out another mouthful of blood. The power that could destroy the world seemed to have destroyed the world. However, it was at this moment that Li Lingshan's eyes lit up. His face lit up when he saw the situation before him. Because he had already left the Yin River and arrived in the outside world. However, before he could be happy, his expression changed drastically. That was because the Yin River water that could destroy the world had shot into the sky behind him. Just like the Yellow River bursting its banks, the entire Yin River had found a breakthrough. At the same time, he saw 6 or 7 figures in his eyes. 5 of them could not be more familiar. There were 5 experts from Yunfeng Villa, and he didn't know 2 of them. It seemed that they were together. However, at this moment, the destructive Yin River water appeared, causing the expressions of the 7 supreme experts to change drastically. They became extremely terrifying. Rumble! 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 The endless mountain range before him was being flooded by the Yin River water. Wherever the pitch-black Yin River water passed, everything was destroyed and eroded. Immovable golden body seal. Li Lingshan's expression changed drastically as he looked at the 5 powerhouses. At the same time, a murderous intent rose in his heart. He forcefully controlled the immovable golden body Madra and directed the 3 spirit mountains to bombard the 9th firmament martial saint powerhouses. Borrowing the impact of the spirited mountain, he adjusted his direction. The destructive power pressed down like the might of heaven. Screams of agony continued to ring out as the halo above spirited mountain trembled. More blood trickled down Li Lingshan's lips. At this moment, the spirit mountain also quickly became smaller. In the blink of an eye, it had shrunk to the size of a palm. Li Lingshan's expression changed when he saw this. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed at the 3 spirit mountains from afar. The 3 spiritual mountains returned to his hand. When he looked at the few super experts, his expression was even more shocked. Of the 7 supreme experts, only 4 were left. 3 of them had already vanished into thin air, and the remaining 4 were all pseudo-martial god experts. However, they had also suffered heavy injuries. He did not expect that the power of the 3 spirit mountains would actually crush and destroy 3 9th heavenly level martial saints. Moreover, he had yet to control this spirit mountain or the immovable golden body seal. If he could control these 2 things, he did not know how powerful they would be. He floated in the air, dragging 3 spiritual mountains with him. His expression slowly calmed down. Looking down, the mountain range of 1,000,000 miles was quickly submerged. Countless experts and geniuses were quickly drowned and died. Originally, this bit of power was nothing, but the corrosive power of the Ain River water was not something that any expert could resist. Swoosh, swoosh. Hundreds of martial saints and martial emperors had already flown into the sky. These experts were all geniuses of the Yunfeng villa. They had sensed the Ain River the moment it appeared and escaped the calamity of destruction. Chapter 749. Heaven-destroying sword formation void. The water of the Ain River instantly flooded thousands of miles. The entire Yunfeng villa had disappeared. Not to mention the Yunfeng villa, even the Yunfeng mountain range had disappeared. The backing of the Great Shang Kingdom had never thought that it would be destroyed by the Ain River. All of this came from this white-robed young man. The 4 pseudo-martial god powerhouses and hundreds of super powerhouses glared at Li Lingtian with rage on their faces. The towering rage from his body seemed to want to tear Li Lingtian apart. It should be known that Yun Peak Villa and Yun Peak Mountain Range were the foundation of the Yun family. Everything was here, but everything was destroyed in an instant. How could they endure it? The destruction of the Yun Peak Villa meant that there would be a change of dynasty in Great Shang. Even if there wasn't a change of dynasty, the royal family of Great Shang wouldn't be as strong as before. In fact, before the Freedom King dynasty could attack, Great Shang would start a massacre. However, they wouldn't blame him for all of this. They wouldn't blame him for the mistake. If it weren't for the fact that Yunfeng Villa gathered all the alchemists to refine the reincarnation pill and didn't seek death themselves, Yunfeng Villa wouldn't have been destroyed now. If they had not provoked Li Lingtian, he would not have destroyed Yunfeng Villa with the Ain River. Li Lingtian, you destroyed 100,000 disciples of Yunfeng Villa. Even if I die today, I'll turn you into ashes. Yun Longya's expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes were bloodshot. He had never thought that his Yun family, which was at the height of its power, would actually become like this in an instant. Originally, Yun Peak Villa wanted to unify the Xian continent. However, with the current situation, it would be very difficult to even protect the Great Shang Kingdom, let alone unify the Xian continent. Ha! Your Yunfeng Villa is courting death. You imprisoned and absorbed the cultivation base and life force of countless experts in order to refine the reincarnation pill. In order to refine the reincarnation pill and become a martial god, you have lost all conscience. If you didn't go against me, would I destroy your Yunfeng Villa? I don't want to waste time with you. Since you want to kill me, then show me your true ability, lest you regret it later. Li Lingtian looked at the martial emperor and martial saint powerhouses around him with a sharp gaze. Wherever his gaze passed, all the experts lowered their heads. This gaze was as sharp as a sword. Since Yunfeng Villa was so shameless, he wouldn't be polite. When he spoke, his voice was like a dragon's roar. As soon as he finished speaking, the aura around his entire body soared, and he had the aura to fight against all the experts in the world. This boldness and aura immediately shocked countless experts. His aura soared to the extreme, and the heavenly fiend region once again displayed it. He waved his hands in the air, and a stream of light flashed between his eyebrows. 3 extremely exquisite small swords appeared in front of him. Each of the 3 small swords was only an inch long. However, the 3 small swords emitted a heaven-defying aura. This was the pressure of a saint weapon, the pressure of a supreme saint weapon. The pressure of a single super supreme grade saint weapon was enough to make martial emperors and martial saints feel a strong suppression. With 3 terrifying super supreme grade saint weapons together, the pressure was no longer as simple as 1 + 1 + 1. Moreover, the 3 supreme saint weapons were heavenly swords. They were one heavenly sword. Now that Li Lingtian had nourished and refined them together, they had a deep connection with each other. Their power was also several times stronger. He understood that if he continued to hide, he would die without a complete corpse in the face of the destructive attacks of 4 pseudo-martial god experts and hundreds of super experts of the Yun family. Any one of the 4 pseudo-martial god realm experts could crush him to death. Other techniques were useless. Only his trump cards could fight against the 4 fake martial gods. If even these trump cards could not deal with the 4 fake martial gods, then he would be waiting to die. He completely ignored the other martial saints and martial emperors. As long as he killed the fake martial god, these martial emperors and martial saints could be killed easily. Metal Dao intent. Li Lingtian looked at the three exquisite swords in front of him with a serious expression as a smile appeared on his face. When he looked at the small sword, it was as if he was looking at his own family and friends. Then, his aura changed, and a destructive metal will erupted. When the will of the great path of metal erupted, all the powerhouses reacted. They unleashed their powerful attacks and stared at Li Lingtian in horror as they felt the destructive will in the air. However, at this moment, the three heavenly swords in front of Li Lingtian had already reverted to their original form. They hovered in front of him and the terrifying pressure was even stronger. Heaven-destroying sword formation. Three swords combined into one. Void destruction. Li Lingtian's eyes gradually turned cold. The three heavenly swords burst forth with a shocking sword will. At the moment the sword will burst forth, the three heavenly swords strangely merged together. The three heavenly swords merged together, and a terrifying pressure and sword will soared into the sky. Li Lingtian grabbed the combined heavenly sword with one hand and a devastating sword ray shot into the distance. This was the direction of the four people from Cloud Dragon Cliff. The four false martial gods were the most terrifying opponents. He didn't dare to use any other moves and could only use Void Destruction. Void Destruction was the fourth move of the heaven-destroying sword formation. It was also a divine power that surpassed the top-notch saint tier. It had even surpassed the saint tier. If he couldn't even defeat a few experts with this move, he didn't have much hope. Fighting with such a pseudo-martial god expert would either destroy the world or wait to die. After all, if a pseudo-martial god expert were to attack, he would not even have the chance to use his ultimate move. Moreover, the other party was a few pseudo-martial god experts and hundreds of martial emperors and martial saints. These people could completely restrain his ultimate move. Now, when these people were unprepared, he used his most powerful move, which exceeded everyone's imagination. Boom! In the air, a halo exploded. At first, the halo was only a dot, but in an instant, this dot seemed to have been detonated. Instantly, the area within a radius of 1,000 miles was enveloped in this halo. All the experts were trapped in this halo. Li Lingtian's body flashed as he looked down coldly before he flew into the void. The moment he left, a treasure chest sounded and a halo exploded. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Wherever the halo passed, destruction would follow. The halo was like a black hole that devoured the lives of experts. It even devoured everything in the void. The void was completely destroyed at this moment. Hundreds of martial emperors and martial saints were devoured in an instant, turning into nothingness and completely disappearing from this world. The four pseudo-martial gods were suffering from the tearing of the void destruction. Their faces were filled with agony and their eyes were filled with horror and despair. They never expected that Li Lingtian would not only defy the heavens but also master such a terrifying divine ability. Limitless 9-yin technique. At this moment, Yunlongya's expression hardened as he glanced at the other three pseudo-martial gods. The four of them looked at each other and nodded. Then, the true essence in their bodies reversed. At this moment, a destructive profound yin qi appeared in the air. The entire destructive space was filled with yin qi. In the blink of an eye, a gray light appeared. After this light appeared, it immediately blocked the power of the void destruction. An elite of the netherworld. Li Lingtian was shocked when he saw the cultivation techniques of Yunlongya's group of four. He did not expect the powerhouses from Yunfeng Villa to cultivate the underworld's cultivation techniques. At the same time, he could tell from the auras of the four of them that these fellows from the Yunfeng Villa were experts from the netherworld. However, they had always hidden themselves very well, so it was impossible to tell. No wonder they dared to use the cultivation and vitality of martial artists to refine the reincarnation pill. It turned out that they did not take human lives seriously at all. In the air, the entire space was filled with destruction. The two destructive attacks were in a stalemate. The power of the void destruction was heaven-defying, and it had already surpassed the divine arts of the divine martial continent. However, the few powerhouses before him were pseudo-martial god realm experts with terrifying strength. Furthermore, they were working together. It was a feat for Li Lingtian to be able to hold them off with his void destruction. The destructive void continued to devour everything between heaven and earth, but only the cultivation technique halo cast by Yunlongya and the other three could not devour it. Li Lingtian did not feel the slightest bit of melancholy as he observed the situation. He circulated the only bit of true essence in his body. Devouring light. With a flick of his consciousness, he unleashed the devouring light. Because at this moment, his Zhan Yuan was almost exhausted, it was impossible to recover his Zhan Yuan with the heaven-defying pill. The only thing he could use was the devouring light, which could devour spiritual qi and turn it into Zhan Yuan. The destructive aura quickly transformed into true essence, and the true essence in his body quickly recovered. Tyrannical blade art. Desolate 10 consecutive slashes. True essence recovered, and the true essence in his entire body reached its peak. However, the true essence at this time was not his own true essence at all. If it stayed in his dantian for too long, it would be imprinted. The aura of his entire body skyrocketed, and the heavenly extreme tyrant emperor saber appeared in his hand. He circulated his divine sense and executed the heavenly extreme tyrant emperor saber. The first move of the tyrant saber art, desolate 10 consecutive strikes, was also unleashed to the extreme at this moment. The 10 saber rays slashed down as if they ignored the distance between them. However, these 10 saber rays were no longer together like before. Now, the 10 saber rays were completely separated as they bombarded the 4 pseudo-martial god experts. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level martial emperor realm. His strength had reached an extreme. When he used this move again, its power was countless times stronger than before. Moreover, the power of the divine artifact was fully unleashed at this moment. The power of a divine artifact was indestructible. As long as the opponent was not a divine artifact, they would not be able to withstand the divine artifact's attack pressure. Moreover, Li Lingtian had combined the divine weapon and the heaven-grade superpower to unleash the power. The power was several levels stronger than expected. The destructive divine weapon pressure and the terrifying desolate 10 consecutive slashes descended from the sky like divine might. It directly bombarded the dead people at Cloud Dragon Cliff. Looking at the 10 saber rays descending from the sky, the 4 people from Yunlongya's group were filled with horror and despair. Now, they finally understood Li Lingshan's true power. It was beyond their imagination. Li Lingshan's appearance made them feel that the iron law of the world had changed. Chapter 750. Yunfeng Villa. Destruction. The 10 saber rays fiercely slashed at the 4 people's halos. Kacha! With a crisp sound, the halo was destroyed by the saber light. The 10 saber lights intersected in the air. The crisscrossing saber light was like a saber net, and it carried waves of destructive saber intent. Wherever the saber intent passed, the 4 super experts were turned into pieces. Without the slightest scream, the 4 false martial god realm experts vanished into thin air. The air was filled with the aura of destruction, and the saber light also disappeared at this time. Li Lingshan's body swayed as a smile appeared on his lips. At the same time, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ever since he succeeded in refining the pill, his true essence had been constantly consumed. He had fought with a few experts and suffered heavy injuries before entering the Yin River. He found an exit in the Yin River and used Crimson Light Heavenly Monarch. Later on, he was injured by the immovable Golden Body Madra and subdued 3 spirit mountains. After he came out, he used Void Destruction. Now, he was even more injured. This time, his injuries were more serious than before. He activated the Divine Dragon Ring with his divine consciousness. Whitey appeared in front of him. It then conjured a spaceship and flew away quickly with Li Lingtian. Long Da and the others had also appeared at that moment. They had been standing not too far away from Yunfeng Villa and witnessed the changes there. By the time they arrived, Li Lingtian had already ended the battle. Long Da and the rest caught up to Li Lingshan's spaceship and boarded it to pilot it. Xiaobai could now take care of Li Lingtian. "Brother, why are your injuries so serious?" Xiaobai sat beside Li Lingtian and asked with concern. She reached out to take out a silk handkerchief and wiped the blood off Li Lingshan's mouth before looking at him. "I've encountered a few fake martial gods." Li Lingtian gave a simple explanation before he began to heal his injuries. At this point in time, he could not afford to ignore his injuries. Otherwise, there would be repercussions for his cultivation. Little White did not ask any more questions. It stood guard by Li Lingshan's side and did not allow anyone to disturb Li Lingshan's healing. The flying ship flew at high speed, and in a day, they had already left the borders of the Great Shang Kingdom. The Great Shang Kingdom was in chaos. The Yunfeng villa had been submerged. The entire Yunfeng villa had disappeared into the Yin River, forming the Yin River. The Yun Peak mountain range also disappeared, and all the experts died inside. No one knew what had happened to Yunfeng villa. They all thought that the Yin River had drowned Yunfeng villa, causing all the experts of Yunfeng villa to die. The Yunfeng villa was the backing of the Great Shang royal family. Now that the Yunfeng villa was gone, some of the families with ambitions towards the Great Shang Kingdom had already started to stir. For a moment, the Great Shang Kingdom was in turmoil. However, although countless experts did not know about the Yun Peak villa, there were a few experts in the royal family of the Great Shang Kingdom who knew. There were a total of 9 fifth sky martial saints in Yunfeng villa. 7 of them stayed in Yunfeng villa and 2 of them guarded the palace. There were also a few 7th or 8th firmament martial saint powerhouses in the palace. Naturally, they were well aware of the incident at Yunfeng villa. Naturally, they knew that Li Lingtian was the one who caused the destruction of Yunfeng villa. 7th uncle, 9th uncle, Yunfeng villa is gone. Are we just going to sit here and wait for the other families to bully us? The king of Great Shang, Yun Ao Ting, had an anxious expression on his face. Ever since the Yun Peak villa was submerged, he had never felt at ease. He knew how important Yun Peak villa was to Great Shang. Without Great Shang, the Yun family would never be able to gain a foothold in Great Shang. Moreover, even if they managed to gain a foothold, the strength of Great Shang would decline. We don't have to worry about Great Shang. The main problem is the Carefree Empire. Li Lingtian from the Carefree Empire is too terrifying. He was the one who caused this incident. I never expected a martial emperor powerhouse to be so powerful. Right now, although the Carefree Empire hasn't made a move, it's because they are waiting for an opportunity. Our Great Shang Kingdom is their opportunity. He has obtained the Grade 8 Spirit Concentration Pill formula and the Reincarnation Pill. We simply can't do anything about it. The only way is to snatch the Reincarnation Pill back while Li Lingtian is injured. Well, cultivate in secret and wait for a comeback. Cloudsky's expression was also extremely ugly. One had to know that he was also a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. As long as he obtained the Reincarnation Pill, he would have a chance to become a martial god. He did not expect such an unforeseen event to happen midway. Not only did he not get the Reincarnation Pill, but he also lost Yunfeng villa. Yunfeng villa was his main family. But now he didn't even have a home. Naturally, he was unhappy. However, when he thought about how Li Lingtian had single-handedly killed several powerhouses of the same generation, he felt a sense of dread. His cultivation was among the last few people in the Yun family. Even a pseudo-martial god powerhouse was killed. As a 9th firmament martial saint, he could not think of any chance to fight Li Lingtian. However, if he could obtain the reincarnation elixir and attain the martial god realm with it, he would be able to kill Li Lingtian. Abandon the Great Shang Kingdom. However, how difficult is it to get the Reincarnation Pill from Li Lingtian? When Cloud Dream City heard Cloudsky's words, they understood that Cloud Sky wanted to give up on the Great Shang Kingdom. Furthermore, he wanted to fight for the Reincarnation Pill. Wasn't this like pulling teeth from a tiger's mouth? Li Lingtian had even killed a few super powerhouses, so what else could the two of them do? This was simply impossible, and this method would not work. Li Lingshan's injuries have worsened. He doesn't have the ability to fight anymore. There's no 7th heaven martial saint powerhouse in the Freedom King dynasty, let alone a martial saint 8-9. As long as we send an 8th heaven martial saint powerhouse over, you be able to snatch the Reincarnation Pill from Li Lingtian. If we miss this opportunity, we can forget about it in the future. Moreover, if we don't give up now, Great Shang will be attacked. In the future, we won't even have a chance to rise again. As Yun Xiao spoke slowly, his expression gradually calmed down. However, his eyes were filled with a deep murderous intent. His hatred for Li Lingtian had seeped into his bones. Yes, this idea is feasible. However, Li Lingtian has left Great Shang a long time ago. If we were to pursue him, we would never be able to catch up. How about this? The two of us will use the 9 heavens and 10 earths grand magic to kill him before he returns to the Carefree Dynasty. After he returns to the Carefree Dynasty, even if the Carefree Dynasty doesn't have any super warriors, the Carefree Dynasty has the super war god. We want dare to fight against this mysterious war god. Yunfeng Cheng pondered for a long time before finally speaking his mind. Yun Ao Ting had been listening from the side. Although he was the king, in front of the super strong warriors of the Yun family, he was just a junior at the first sky of the Martial Saint realm. At this moment, only the elders could make the decision. Li Lingshan's appearance was an unforeseen event in Xianzhou. Great Shang was ambitious and wanted to unify Xianzhou. However, they never expected Li Lingshan's appearance to cause such a change. Yun Peak Villa had no choice but to take action in advance to prevent Li Lingshan's Carefree Dynasty from attacking. However, they did not expect Li Lingtian to come to Yun Peak Villa. The pill was successfully refined, but Li Lingtian had destroyed Yunfeng Villa and all its powerhouses. In less than a day, most of the kingdoms and experts in the entire Mystic Moon Empire knew about what had happened at the Yun Peak Villa. When they received this news, they were all extremely shocked. Although no one knew that it was Li Lingtian who did it, the world's trade wall was airtight. Soon, the incident of Yunfeng Villa being submerged was linked to Li Lingtian from Freedom King Dynasty. Furthermore, Li Lingshan's whereabouts were dug up. Li Lingshan's reputation spread from the Carefree Empire to the entire Mystic Moon Empire. Initially, it was thought that Li Lingtian had established the Carefree Dynasty by luck. However, it seemed that Li Lingshan's abilities were heaven-defying. The person who was feared by all the experts was currently recuperating on the spaceship. Tang Qingyue and the others were also recuperating in the Divine Dragon Ring. Although the 5 super experts who had joined forces to attack the Yunfeng Villa in the main hall were not seriously injured, they were still shaken and did not dare to be careless. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. The spaceship had already entered the 100 Spirit Kingdoms territory. Tang Qingyue and the rest were summoned out of the Divine Dragon Ring by Li Lingtian. His injuries had stabilized for the time being. If he wanted to recover, he had to do dual cultivation with Tang Qingyue and the others. Otherwise, it would take at least a year or 2 to fully recover. The main reason was that the opponent they encountered this time was too powerful. If it was anyone else, they would have died countless times. Blue Moon, help me heal. Li Lingtian waited for Tang Qingyue and the others to come out before he spoke. Huangfu Yuyan, Tang Qingyue, and the rest did not say anything. They merely nodded and sat around Li Lingtian, unleashing their powerful true essence. Both of them had practiced dual cultivation before, and had helped Li Lingtian heal quite a few times. Naturally, they were familiar with each other. The 5 mystical streams of true essence began to circulate and slowly merge together. Shenyuan Yingying's true essence was infused with the 5 elements Tao Will. The 6 streams of true essence swirled and surged toward Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian closed his eyes slightly and absorbed the surging true essence into his body. After the vital essence circulated in her body, it left her dantian and returned to Huangfu Yuyan's dantian. Tang Qingyue, Shunmei Tang Ziming, and Qingling followed behind. Finally, the vital essence entered Shenyuan Yingying's dantian. For a moment, the true essence continued to circulate in the 7 people's bodies. Li Lingshan's injuries were slowly recovering while Huangfu Yuyan and the rest's cultivation base was also improving rapidly. Every time they did dual cultivation or helped Li Lingtian heal, their cultivation base would improve rapidly. Realizing this benefit, they were basically cultivating together. Even without Li Lingtian, they could still use each other's true essence. This way, their cultivation speed was several times faster than before. Chapter 751. Interception. 1. Boom. Just as Li Lingtian and the rest were healing themselves, a dull thud was heard. Although this spaceship was an ordinary spaceship, it was not easy for ordinary demon beasts and experts to shake it. Unexpectedly, the spaceship shook as if it had crashed into a mountain range. Li Lingtian and the rest were interrupted in their recuperation. Although it didn't affect them much, they were still unhappy to be interrupted like this. Immediately, the few of them stopped their cultivation. Under such circumstances, it was naturally impossible for them to recuperate in peace. Let's go out and take a look. After Li Lingtian finished his cultivation, he spoke to Huangfu Yuyan and the rest with a faint smile on his face. However, Huangfu Yuyan and the rest understood that there was a murderous intent behind Li Lingshan's smile. Huangfu Yuyan and the rest nodded with a smile on their faces. However, the smile was genuine. In their opinion, no one was Li Lingshan's match in these places. At this moment, the spaceship stopped and floated steadily in the air. Long Da stood on the spaceship and looked into the distance. He saw a huge mountain range 10 miles away. The mountain range appeared out of thin air. The flying ship was too fast to react in time and directly crashed into the mountain range. Fortunately, Long Da's cultivation was deep. He used a powerful method to move the flying ship away at the moment of impact. This way, the flying ship was not destroyed. However, it caused a powerful vibration, and the spaceship quickly retreated 10 miles. However, Yun Aotan and Tian Chengzi were meditating on the flying ship. There was no movement at all because they would not display their cultivation under normal circumstances. Young master. Long Da greeted Li Lingtian respectfully when he saw him. What happened? Li Lingtian looked at the mountain range in the distance and asked Long Da in confusion. It seemed like the spaceship had crashed into the mountain range or else there would not be such a huge commotion. Young master, this mountain range fell from the sky. The flying ship couldn't dodge it in time and hit it. Long Da did not dare to hesitate when he heard Li Lingshan's question. He immediately told him what had just happened. Oh! Li Lingshan's expression was initially calm, but it was laced with anger and murderous intent. However, after coming out and not finding any experts, the killing intent in his heart disappeared. However, when he heard Long Da's words, he immediately became solemn. The killing intent in his heart surged again because such a thing was nothing more than a super expert being around. Only a super expert would have such a heaven-defying method to move the mountain range to attack the flying ship. Even he did not see an expert when he came out. This expert's cultivation must be extremely powerful, or it could be said that his control over space had reached a terrifying level. Even if such an expert's cultivation was not strong, it was still quite troublesome to deal with. With a flick of his divine perception, he began to scan the area ahead of him. However, he did not find anything. The more he did so, the more curious Li Lingtian became. Humph! With a cold snort, his aura soared, and a strange aura spread out. At the same time, his aura changed as well. 3 exquisite lotus-shaped runes appeared between his eyebrows, making him look extremely demonic. A blood-red light shot out from the rune. The blood-red light was like a corporeal eye. In the blink of an eye, Li Lingtian discovered 2 elderly men in their 50s in his divine consciousness, one in green and the other in black. With his powerful divine sense, he could see through the hiding place of the 2 of them at a glance and also see through their cultivation. 9th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm. It's a pity that you haven't reached the level of a pseudo-martial god yet. With such a cultivation base, you still dare to seek death in front of me. I can't help but admire your courage. Come out. Li Lingtian said calmly as he looked at the 2 powerhouses in the sky. His face revealed a disdainful expression. Even if he had not recovered from his injuries, it was still nothing to 2 9th heavenly layer martial saints. Moreover, there were 2 9th heavenly level super martial saints who had obtained the ancient inheritance by his side. In the same batch, it was very easy for the 9th heavenly level martial saints who had obtained the inheritance to kill the other 9th heavenly level supreme martial saints. He did not even need to make a move to kill these 2 experts in the air. When he spoke, the disdainful expression on his face made the 2 martial saints in the air almost vomit blood. Swoosh! Swoosh! The air trembled as 2 experts appeared in the air. Yunmeng Cheng and Yun Xiao looked at Li Lingshan's spaceship before shifting their gaze to Li Lingtian with a puzzled expression. Li Lingtian was younger than they had expected, and he was also a 9th level martial emperor. This cultivation realm was not something that a warrior in his 20s could achieve. Even the #1 genius of the Black Continent had not reached the martial emperor realm at the age of 20. He did not expect Li Lingtian to become a 9th level martial emperor in his 20s. What was even more terrifying was that Li Lingshan's cultivation base was unmatched among the martial emperors. Even a martial saint was killed in an instant. If it was not a martial saint at the 8th or 9th heaven, the other martial saints would basically be killed in an instant. What kind of terrifying existence was this? Li Lingshan's injuries were so severe that he did not have the strength to fight. However, why was he so confident? Could it be the few Supreme Realm girls beside him? It was still that tall martial emperor powerhouse. Even the two people on the plank were at the martial Supreme Realm. Li Lingtian did not have any trump cards or abilities left. Could it be that Li Lingtian was pretending to be strong? Otherwise, Li Lingtian would not have any advantage at all. Li Lingtian, I'm sure you've prepared yourself for the price of destroying my Yunfeng villa. I won't lie in front of the immortal. Your cultivation is not bad, but after you're injured, what are your chances of winning? We won't argue with you about the Yunfeng villa now, but you must hand over the reincarnation pill. Otherwise, no matter how strong you are, you won't be able to leave here today. Cloudski's expression was calm, but monstrous waves surged in his heart. Li Lingshan's reputation was well known. Furthermore, he had just killed a powerhouse from his Yunfeng villa. His strength was extremely terrifying. They were already traumatized. If not for the reincarnation pills, they would not have dared to stop Li Lingtian. Haha, ignorant. Li Lingtian looked at the two of them with disdain. He actually came to test him at this time and even planned to take back the reincarnation pill. Was this not a joke? Get lost. Longde noticed that Li Lingtian was silent and understood that Li Lingtian was enraged. If he did not leave, he would kill the two powerhouses. Now that Li Lingtian was injured, he did not want to fight or cause any trouble on the way. He did not want to fight with the two powerhouses either. However, with Yuneotan and the other two by his side, he could test their cultivation strength. It seemed like he wanted the two of them to leave, but this word angered the two martial saints. Damn it! Li Lingtian, I'll tear you into pieces today. When Yunmeng Cheng saw Li Lingshan's disdainful look, his anger was already soaring. However, he did not expect that one of Li Lingshan's subordinates would insult them in such a manner. He couldn't hold it in any longer. The aura around his body soared, and the pressure of destruction soared into the sky. A destructive pressure rushed towards the spaceship with might. The air trembled and the air was constantly distorted. You're courting death. Li Lingtian did not move at all as he watched the devastating pressure coming at him. Yunmeng Chang and Yun Xiao looked at Li Lingtian and the others and thought that they would not stand a chance to resist. Seeing this, their expressions turned cruel. As long as the pressure landed on the spaceship, it would suppress the few martial emperors and Li Lingtian. That way, Li Lingtian could be easily killed. However, before they could finish their joy, their expressions turned ugly. Tian Qingzi, who was meditating on the flying ship, coldly shouted. He waved his hand casually, and a faint aura welcomed the pressure from afar. It seemed like a casual wave, but this faintly discernible aura directly blocked the terrifying pressure and aura. Boom! With a muffled sound, the power and pressure disappeared, and so did Tian Qingzi's aura. Tian Qingzi stood up. His expression remained unchanged as he looked coldly at Yunmeng Chang and Cloud Sky. Who are you? Yunmeng Chang's body swayed, and he retreated 100 meters before stopping. He did not expect that his attack would be blocked by an unremarkable person and even rebounded. Encountering such a situation, he was instantly shocked to death. Who am I? It's none of your business, but if you provoke my young master, you deserve to die. Tian Qingzi said indifferently. His figure walked forward step by step. Finally, he left the spaceship and strolled in the void. He directly walked towards the other party, his entire person extremely unrestrained. They only stopped when they were 100 meters away from Cloud Dream City. 9th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm. The expression on Yunmeng Cheng's face changed drastically because he had seen through Tian Qingzi's cultivation realm. Although his cultivation realm had not reached the level of a pseudo-martial god, he gave off a feeling that he was even more terrifying than a pseudo-martial god. It was beyond their expectations that Li Lingtian had such a subordinate by his side. In Freedom King Dynasty, there were no powerhouses above the 6th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm. However, at this moment, Any random person Li Lingtian picked out was at the peak of the complete 9th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm. Encountering such a thing, they were naturally incomparably shocked. As he spoke, he looked at the other martial emperor who was meditating and cultivating on the plank. Since this person started off as a martial emperor and now became a 9th heavenly layer martial saint, could the other one also be a 9th heavenly layer martial saint? He was hoping that the other one was not a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. They could join forces to kill a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. However, if two 9th heavenly layer martial saints were together, the two of them did not have the slightest confidence in killing the other party. Not to mention killing him, even if he escaped, the chances were not high. After all, this 9th heavenly layer martial saint was even more terrifying than the false martial god. Chapter 752. Demonic Art. 1. Yun Aotian did not disappoint Cloud Sky and the other two. He slowly stood up with a calm expression on his face. However, Yun Aotian's movements caused Cloud Sky and the others' expressions to change drastically. This was because the aura on Yun Aotian's body had skyrocketed. It was also the aura of a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. The thing he was most worried about and afraid of had happened. The appearance of two peak 9th heavenly layer martial saints was beyond their imagination. Li Lingtian was already heaven-defying. Now, he had two 9th firmament martial saint powerhouses by his side. This was something they had never expected. They already had the intention to retreat. The sixth sense of an expert told them that these two people were enough to kill them. If the Yun Peak Villa was finished, the Great Shang Kingdom would also vanish into thin air. Since you're here, stay. When Tian Chengzi saw Cloud Sky and the other two's appearance, his expression was ice-cold, and the corners of his mouth overflowed with a trace of a cruel smile. After following Li Lingtian for a long time, even some of his expressions were affected. Rip! The space was torn apart by Tian Chengzi's terrifying power. The strong wind raged. The terror of the peak 9th heavenly layer martial saint was displayed at this moment. At the same time, the saint perfect grade weapon in his hand flashed with destructive might. They were already extremely powerful martial saint powerhouses, but after receiving the ancient legacy, their abilities had reached an unimaginable level. Coupled with Li Lingshan's occasional guidance on the heaven and earth reincarnation art, their cultivation had advanced to another level. The longer they followed Li Lingtian, the more fearful they were of Li Lingshan's heaven-defying strength. Similarly, they were more respectful of Li Lingtian. A young martial artist in his 20s actually had heaven-defying cultivation insights. In the divine martial continent, such a monster had never appeared before. Now that Li Lingtian had appeared, it was highly likely that the current situation of the divine martial continent would change. So, the sound of air being torn apart rang out. Yun Aotian's figure strangely appeared on the other side of Cloud Sky and the other person, blocking their escape route. Knowing the murderous intent in Li Lingshan's heart, as his subordinates, they would not let go of the person whom Li Lingtian wanted to kill. For a moment, the atmosphere in the air was strange and oppressive. Cloud Sky and the other man's faces turned ugly. At this moment, they could no longer be lucky in front of two super martial saints. Great Shang Kingdom miscalculated. So did Yun Peak Villa. Both of them miscalculated as they did not expect Li Lingtian to be so heaven-defying. They did not expect Li Lingtian to have two 9th heavenly layer martial saints by his side. Demonic Sky Limitless Tao. 12 Forms of Cloud Peak. Heavenly Yin Demon Suppression. Descend. Yun Xiao and Yun Meng Cheng exchanged a glance. It would be difficult for them to escape from these two Chao martial saints, let alone kill Li Lingtian. If he were to hide his cultivation, he would only be courting death. The aura around his body rapidly changed. This aura piqued Li Lingshan's curiosity. Was it the profound Yin Qi? That was not right. Was it demon-suppressing Qi? That was not right either. However, the auras of Cloud Sky and Yunmengcheng contained demonic aura and Yin aura. They were a fusion of the two auras. Li Lingshan's lips curled into a smile when he realized this. If other experts encountered such a situation, they would more or less suffer a loss. However, this aura was completely not worth mentioning in front of him. He looked at Yun Aotan and Tian Qingzi to see how confident they were in dealing with this mysterious aura. Clear Sky Qi. Shen Yun Dao. When Tian Qingzi and Yunao Tian saw the aura displayed by the two people from Cloud Dream City, they were stunned and immediately felt solemn. However, the more it was like this, the more excited the two of them were. In the past, he was unrivaled among the martial saints. However, when he met powerhouses like the Martial God and Li Ling Tian at the Divine Martial Hall, he had been suppressed for a long time. He had been feeling aggrieved for a long time. Now that he had a powerful opponent, he was naturally motivated to fight. Immediately, four figures flashed in the air, occasionally letting out destructive booms. The space shook, and strong winds raged. However, the strong wind disappeared in front of the spaceship as if it had been swallowed by a mysterious aura. Boom! Boom! Explosions continued to ring out in the air. Li Ling Tian was watching the battle in the sky while Tang Qingyue and the others were by his side. As martial honors, they could not see through the battle between the peak martial saints. However, when he noticed the smile on Li Lingshan's face, he knew that the other party did not stand a chance. Gradually, the four figures could no longer be seen. Instead, there were only four halos. The halos were like meteors that crisscrossed in the sky. Every time two halos intersected, a destructive explosion would erupt, and a terrifying force would tear through space. Streaks of astral winds were emitted from the torn space. The destructive astral winds were extremely terrifying. Even a martial honor would be instantly destroyed when they encountered these astral winds. Big Brother Ling Tian, how confident do you think Yunao Tian and the others are? Shen Yuan Yingying stood beside Li Ling Tian and looked up at him as she watched the battle in the air. She had the 5 elements sacred body and also had the 5 elements will. She could also sense that the two auras in the air were different. Yun Aotian and Tian Chengzi's cultivation strength has already reached the limit of a martial saint. If they encounter other peak complete earthly sovereigns, they can easily kill them. However, the people they encountered this time cultivated the techniques of the devil race and the netherworld. Moreover, the techniques of the two races have already fused. It's impossible to defeat them. When the time comes, they'll still need to take action. Li Lingshan's smile remained on his face. His gaze had already left the four halos in the void, but his terrifying divine consciousness extended to 1,000 miles away. He would take action at the first sign of trouble. Even though his injuries had not recovered, he did not want to lose 2 ninth heavenly layer martial saint powerhouses, let alone 2 powerhouses who had obtained an ancient inheritance. Pang! At that moment, Li Lingshan's figure disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already in the void. At the same time, there was a muffled sound in the air. The 4 halos separated at this moment, and blood flowed from the corners of Yunaotan and Tian Chengzi's mouths. Li Lingshan's body hovered in the middle of the 4 men as a terrifying aura emanated from his body. Young Master. When Yunaotan and Tian Chengzi saw Li Lingshan's appearance, their faces revealed a hint of shame, but their eyes were filled with shock. They did not expect that their cultivation and strength would actually be defeated by the other party's mysterious cultivation technique. If it were not for Li Lingshan's arrival earlier, the two of them would have suffered even more serious injuries. It turned out that with their cultivation strength, they could completely suppress Cloud Sky and Cloud Dream City's attacks. However, after the two of them used a mysterious cultivation technique, the terrifying aura continuously corroded their cultivation, and their true essence quickly flowed away. In the blink of an eye, the opponent had taken the initiative. Just as they were about to be killed by the opponent's terrifying aura, Li Ling Tian appeared before the duo in a strange manner and blocked the 2 mysterious auras. Li Ling Tian, if it was in the past, I would still think highly of you. But you're injured now, so you can't resist our heavenly devil limitless Tao at all. If you destroy my Yunfeng villa, it'll make you regret ever coming to this world. Your death will be the end of the Xiaoyao Empire. When Yun Xiao saw that Li Ling Tian had managed to block their attacks, he was shocked. They knew the power of the heavenly demonic limitless Tao better than anyone else. If the two of them joined forces, not to mention a martial emperor, even a 9th heavenly layer martial saint or even a false martial god expert would not be able to withstand it. Ignorant! Li Ling Tian looked at Yun Xiao as he spoke with a calm expression on his face. After Yun Xiao finished speaking, a disdainful smile appeared on his lips. His voice was extremely cold, as if it came from the underworld. The disdain in his eyes was like a sharp sword that pierced through the hearts of Yun Xiao and Yunmeng Cheng. He was instantly furious. Detestable, extremely detestable. Yunmeng Cheng's body swayed as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was so angry that he almost fell from the sky. A true demon descended? It's the first time I've seen someone cultivate a cultivation technique to the point where it's completely unlike anything else. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let you broaden your horizons. Saint Demon True Scripture. Heavenly Demon Region. Li Ling Tian looked at Cloud Heaven Dream City with disdain. The corners of his mouth curled into a contemptuous smile as he spoke indifferently. However, his aura changed rapidly as he spoke. Seeing this aura, Cloud Sky and Yunmeng Cheng's expressions changed drastically. Li Lingshan's aura began to change strangely. It was originally a terrifying aura of the 5 elements of heaven and earth, but in the blink of an eye, it turned into devil chi and devil-suppressing chi. The strongest devil-suppressing aura of the devil race. This aura could only be cultivated by experts with the royal bloodline of the devil race. The heavenly demonic limitless path that they cultivated was just a small part of the demon race. Furthermore, they had not even managed to cultivate a superficial cultivation technique yet. On the other hand, Li Lingshan's cultivation technique was actually the strongest cultivation technique of the demon race. Comparing the two was like comparing heaven and earth. In the air, terrifying demonic chi soared into the sky. Between Li Lingshan's brows, 3 exquisite blood-red lotus-shaped runes appeared. The runes shimmered with a blood-red radiance, making him look extremely demonic. Demons. You are a demon. Cloud Sky and Cloud Dream City could no longer calm down at this time. As he cried out in alarm, he quickly flew into the distance. He could not stay in this place any longer. The Li Ling Tian before him was not a 9th-level martial emperor but a terrifying demon. However, the moment his body flashed, his entire body was imprisoned in the air and he could no longer move. Did I ask you to leave? The smile on Li Lingshan's lips turned cruel as the demon-suppressing aura from his entire body dissipated into the air. Ever since he had obtained the demon-subduing chi from Princess Kingwa's clone, his understanding of the Saint Demon's quintessence had improved by another realm. Even if he did not deliberately cultivate the Saint Demon's quintessence now, the Saint Demon's quintessence could still grow stronger along with his cultivation realm. As soon as he finished speaking, his hands reached out in the air and grabbed towards Cloud Sky and the other 2. The invisible hand instantly imprisoned the 2 of them in the void. I recommend the new book, Ancient Sage Myriad Ancient King. I welcome everyone to read and save it. I also want to vote for it. The new book needs everyone's support. Only with everyone's support can the new book go further. Chapter 753. Returning to Liberty Sacred City, Tyrant Demon Dragon Kill. They would not die if they did not seek death. If the 2 of them had not cast the heavenly demonic limitless path, Li Ling Tian would not have imprisoned them so easily. He cultivated the true Saint Demon record, controlled the Saint Demon chi, and had countless demon treasures. Using a demonic technique in front of him was simply courting death. The monstrous demonic chi filled the entire space. Yun Xiao and Yunmeng Cheng's faces were filled with horror and despair. They were confined and could not circulate their quintessential essence as they watched Li Ling Tian helplessly. The confined space was instantly destroyed by Li Lingshan's tyrannical demonic dragon kill. The space was destroyed inch by inch. Endless demonic chi penetrated their bodies like real dragons. The true essence in their bodies was devoured, and their vitality was rapidly drained. Die! With a soft shout, the demonic chi disappeared. At the same time, Yun Xiao and Yunmeng's city in the sky also disappeared at this moment, as if they had never appeared in this space. The peak of the 9th heavenly layer of the martial saint realm had fallen. The world quieted down. Li Lingshan's figure flashed and when he reappeared, he was already on the spaceship. As for the other matters, Yun Aotian and his companion would naturally handle them. When Li Lingtian returned to the spaceship, blood trickled down the corner of his mouth and his face was ghastly pale. He was already injured, and now that he had used the Saint Demon quintessence, he was even more injured. Not to mention a martial emperor, even a martial saint or martial god would not be able to withstand it. However, it was extremely easy to kill the two super experts of the Yun family this time because the cultivation techniques used by the two super experts of the Yun family happened to be his trump cards. In front of the Saint Demon True Understanding, any demonic technique would be vulnerable. Moreover, the two of them had not truly mastered the heavenly demonic limitless Tao. Even if they did, it would only hasten their death. Very soon, Yuneotan and the other returned to the flying ship, and the flying ship flew quickly again. The air in the space gradually calmed down. No one knew that there had been a great battle between 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints here. Moreover, 2 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints had fallen in this place. Young Master, the cultivation technique that the two people from the Yun family used just now should be a demon's cultivation technique, right? When Yuneotan arrived in front of Li Lingtian, the embarrassment and shame on his face had disappeared. To him, it was normal for Li Lingtian to kill 2 9th Firmament Martial Saints. As super experts, they had failed this time. It could only be said that they had encountered a strange opponent. If it were any other powerhouse, they would have long fallen in front of the two of them. He had never seen Li Lingtian use the devil technique before. Now that he had discovered Li Lingtian's cultivation technique, he could not help but feel shocked and ask Li Lingtian tentatively. That's right. The heavenly demonic limitless way is the cultivation method of the demons. It's just that the infinite way of the heavenly devil is just a small trick. I'm also practicing the devil cultivation method. In this world, the strong are respected. No matter what kind of cultivation method it is, it's just to kill the opponent. Li Lingtian's sharp gaze fell upon the two of them as a murderous intent flashed across his eyes. However, this killing intent slowly dissipated. After pausing for a moment, he opened his mouth and told her about the demonic technique. In this world, there were countless experts who cultivated demonic techniques. It was not only the demons who could cultivate demonic techniques. Demonic cultivators also cultivated demonic techniques. He did not cultivate the Saint Demon Quintessence, but after cultivating it, the demon-suppressing chi continued to grow. In other words, as his cultivation increased, his demonic cultivation also increased. Gradually, he no longer had any resistance towards the holy demon true understanding. Instead, he became used to it. As he spoke, he waved his hands, and 2 streaks of true essence bombarded Yunoan and Tian Qingzi. However, these 2 streaks of true essence did not have the slightest bit of power. When the true essence bombarded Yuneotan and his companion, the demonic chi on their bodies was quickly devoured by Li Lingtian. After a moment of cultivation, the demonic chi that had corroded the two of them disappeared. Thank you, young master. The two of them bowed gratefully before returning to their original spots to meditate and cultivate. Li Lingtian followed Tang Qingyue and the others back to the living room. Lingtian, it seems like Great Shang doesn't have any supreme experts left. If that's the case, it will bring endless benefits to our Xiaoyao dynasty. Once your injuries are fully recovered, we will lead our army south and sweep through the 100 Spirit Kingdom, wiping out the Great Shang Kingdom. When the Carefree Empire joins the 100 Spirit Kingdom and the Great Shang Kingdom, our Carefree Empire's strength will increase by several times. Tang Qingyue asked Li Lingtian after they returned to the living room. The others were also looking at Li Lingtian, waiting for his opinion. Previously, he had already killed 7 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints at the Yunfeng Villa, and even destroyed the Yunfeng Villa. Now, there were 2 more 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints. No matter how powerful the Yunfeng Villa was, there was a limit to how many 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints there were. Not bad, it should be about time. If there are still 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints in the Great Shang Kingdom, they wouldn't have only sent 2 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saints after knowing my strength. Instead, they would have sent many experts to deal with me. However, the strength of the 100 Spirit Kingdom cannot be ignored. Let's go back and cultivate for a period of time. When the time comes, we will first think of a way to deal with the 100 Spirit Kingdom. As long as we subdue the 100 Spirit Kingdom, the Great Shang Kingdom will be nothing. Li Lingtian nodded in agreement with Tang Qingyu's words. After all, he had proven his capabilities. If the other party had a lot of powerhouses, they would not have sent just 2 9th Heaven powerhouses to intercept him. Sending 2 9th Heaven powerhouses was just a gamble. They were betting that Li Lingtian would be able to make a comeback once he was seriously injured and snatched the elixir from him. That's right. Let's go back and cultivate for a period of time. After all, we've gained a lot this time. Moreover, you still have to heal your injuries. If we delay your healing, there will be repercussions for your future cultivation. We can let Long Da and Ming Luo handle the war. We will help them in secret. This way, there will be people in the army who will become the soul of the army apart from us. Huang Fu Yuyan added after Li Lingtian had finished speaking. After the final group of people made their decision, they began to cultivate and heal their injuries. Li Lingshan's injuries were worsening and he could not afford any delay. However, with Tang Qingyue, Huang Fu Yuyan, and the rest helping him, the healing process was progressing quickly. Under the dual cultivation of the 5 elements, Li Lingshan's injuries began to stabilize in just 3 days. With enough time, he would be able to recover from all his injuries quickly. After their injuries stabilized, Tang Qingyue and the others returned to their rooms to cultivate. The flying ship quickly streaked across the void and flew toward the Xiaoyao dynasty like a meteor. Half a month later, Liberty Sacred City was already in sight. Long Da piloted the flying ship and directly flew into the holy city. Just as the flying ship approached Liberty Sacred City, there were dozens of martial emperor powerhouses in the flying ship. Among them, there were even 3 martial saint super powerhouses. Dozens of super experts floated in the air. A formation appeared in the air. If the flying ship flew forward again, it would be imprisoned by the formation. When Long Da saw this array formation, a smile appeared on his face. If it were any other array formation, he could have used his flying ship to break through it. However, the array formation before him was a defense array personally created by Li Lingtian, let alone a flying ship and a martial emperor. Even an 8th or 9th firmament martial saint might not be able to break it easily. Moreover, there were countless experts behind this array. Behind the experts was the defense array of Liberty Sacred City. Freedom Sacred City. Flight is prohibited. Violators will be killed. A second sky of the martial saint realm experts shouted. At the same time, all the experts released their auras. Instantly, a destructive pressure pressed down on the spaceship from the city wall. Swoosh! The flying ship stopped. Long Da's expression was calm. He threw a jade token into the air and it flew straight towards the martial saint who spoke. Everyone was puzzled and did not know what Long Da was doing. Not many of these people knew Long Da. If they did, they wouldn't have stopped Long Da. Everyone looked at the jade token in the hands of the martial saint. However, when they saw the martial saint's expression, they were all shocked. The martial saint's expression changed drastically as if he had encountered a ghost. In front of them, a martial saint was already a heaven-defying expert. For a jade token to be able to make a martial saint's expression change so much, it was definitely not simple. Seeing such a situation, they all became vigilant. Great Commander Long. This subordinate is Zhou Tian from the patrol team. Greetings, Great Commander Law. Zhou Tian looked at Long Da, and after confirming his identity, he quickly bowed. Long Da's cultivation base was only at the martial emperor realm. However, he was the guard of Li Lingtian, the ruler of the Carefree dynasty. Everything was handled by Long Da. In the Freedom dynasty, Long Da held the highest position besides Li Lingtian. This was because Long Da had been following Li Lingtian ever since he was not strong enough. Great Commander Long? Subordinate greets Grand Commander. Seeing Zhou Tian's appearance, all the patrol teams were shocked and couldn't react at all. It wasn't until Zhou Tian woke everyone up that they finally reacted. Young Master is cultivating. Don't disturb him, Long Da said calmly. As he spoke, he reached out and grabbed the jade token from Zhou Tian's hand. The ship quickly flew forward. When the ship passed by the array, Zhou Tian had already activated it and let the ship in. The flying ship flew straight towards the palace. In half an hour, the flying ship had already arrived above the palace. With a dull thud, the spaceship landed in the palace. Li Lingtian slowly walked out of the spaceship and headed toward his cultivation palace. He naturally didn't need to deal with the matters outside. After returning to the imperial palace, Li Lingtian focused on recuperating while Tang Qingyue and the others focused on their cultivation. During this period of time, they had come to realize that the powerhouses Li Lingtian encountered were becoming more and more powerful. They had to improve their cultivation so that they could help Li Lingtian. Chapter 754. Spirit Concentration Pill. 1. No one in Liberty Sacred City knew that Li Lingtian had left. However, after the incident in the Great Shang Kingdom, someone discovered that Li Lingtian had left the Imperial Palace for the Great Shang Kingdom. He had even destroyed the Great Shang Kingdom's Yunfeng villa and killed a few 9th Heavenly Layer Martial Saint powerhouses. He had single-handedly killed the backer of Great Shang and destroyed the entire Yun Peak mountain range. This commotion gradually spread throughout the entire Mystic Moon Empire. Li Lingtian did not know about these matters in the palace. However, Longda had found out about the rumors in the world. Naturally, he had his own countermeasures and would not let Li Lingtian be affected in the slightest. Then, he secretly told them about the gathering of the experts and countless alchemists in the Yunfeng villa to refine the reincarnation pill. He even exaggerated some parts. They had placed all the blame on Yunfeng villa. However, they had also mentioned that Li Lingtian had gone to Yunfeng villa to exchange the Tier 7 Ultimate Great Rejuvenating Pill for the Spirit Concentration Pill formula. Just a casual mention of this would cause the powerhouses of the world to discuss it among themselves. After this news was released, the entire Mystic Moon Empire was shaken. Li Lingtian was a super divine alchemist. It was normal for him to want to obtain a level 8 spirit concentration pill formula. It was also normal for him to be plotted against. However, these kingdoms could not accept the Great Shang Kingdom refining the reincarnation pill. After all, the appearance of the reincarnation pill could allow the 9th heavenly layer of the Martial Saint realm to break through to the Martial God realm. At that time, the kingdoms would not have the slightest chance to resist the attack of the Great Shang Kingdom. At the same time, they could see the ambitions of the Great Shang Kingdom. Not only did the powerhouses in the world not feel any resistance when Li Lingtian wiped out the matter regarding the Yunfeng villa, they were instead glad. At the same time, they were also wary of Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian was already a heaven-defying individual. They did not expect him to fall in the Ain River after being attacked by a few 9th Firmament Martial Saints. In the end, they even killed these experts. This was what they were afraid of. This proved that Li Lingtian's ability was sufficient to kill a 9th Firmament Martial Saint. A 9th Firmament Martial Emperor young man had killed a 9th Firmament Martial Saint. If this young man became a Martial Saint, what kind of powerhouse would be able to defeat him? The powerhouses of the Carefree dynasty were also beginning to learn about Li Lingtian's departure. After learning that the Great Shang Kingdom was on the verge of collapse due to Li Lingtian, all the powerhouses were filled with admiration and excitement. However, it was extremely quiet in the palace. The palace was filled with birds and flowers. Although there were many palace maids and guards, there were also countless experts. But in this place, they didn't dare to make any noise. They could only stay at the outer edge of the palace because Li Lingtian was deep inside. The palace where Li Lingtian and the others lived was 1,000 miles wide. It was the place with the densest spirit qi. Martial Saint Ming Luo and the others would handle the matters of the army outside while Longda would handle the matters of the palace. Li Lingtian was not the least bit worried as he cultivated in peace. After this period of time, the cultivation of Martial Saint Ming Luo and the others had already reached the peak of the 5th sky of the Martial Saint realm. With such a realm, it was much easier to control an army. With a powerful force, Li Lingtian was not worried at all. As long as his Carefree dynasty did not attack the other kingdoms would naturally not provoke the Carefree dynasty. Li Lingtian was sitting cross-legged in a palace deep within the imperial palace. His expression was calm. He had already entered the realm of emptiness. Around him, there were streams of mysterious aura. The 5-element Tao will was emitted. It was innate and came from heaven and earth. However, after Li Lingtian sensed it, it came to Li Lingtian's side. The injuries on his body were also rapidly recovering. After half a month of recuperation, coupled with Huangfu Yuyan and the others coming to help him every 2 days, his injuries recovered very quickly. After he recovered from his injuries, he made some arrangements for himself, Tang Genji, and the others. Normally, he would cultivate the heaven and earth reincarnation art and the true dragon body barrier. He would spend a portion of his time cultivating and comprehending a few heaven-defying heaven-grade and saint-grade divine powers. Comprehending the array Tao and pill Tao, using quintessential essence to nourish treasures. The rest of the time was spent guiding Qingqing in her cultivation and accompanying Tang Genji and the others. Most of the time was spent on refining medicinal pills, 6th or 7th grade medicinal pills. Although these medicinal pills were already at his fingertips, if he wanted to become a level 8 divine pill master and refine a level 8 spirit concentration pill, he would have to reach the perfection realm with his previous techniques. Refining grade 6 and grade 7 medicinal pills was also just practice. After the arrangements were made, Li Lingtian passed a jade slip to Long Da. The jade slip contained all the main ingredients for a level 8 pill, as well as some precious ingredients. Li Lingtian sat cross-legged in the center of a dozen spirit-gathering formations in the palace. In front of him was a huge bottomless abyss. Mysterious flames surged out of the abyss, and the flames were enough to burn everything. However, Li Lingtian did not feel anything as he sat in front of the flame. This was because he was an alchemist himself and possessed the flaming sacred body. Using the earth core fire to refine pills would greatly reduce the consumption of energy. Moreover, the earth core fire would be relatively stable. To a pill refiner, refining pills with the fire of the earth's core was the best. The earth core fire and the spirit gathering array were already prepared, and the pill refinement could also begin. Following that, Li Lingtian refined grade 6 cleansing pills and grade 7 great rejuvenating pills every day. However, these pills did not mutate, but they were all peerless pills. In the Imperial Palace, there would be spirit infusion assaults every day. Every time the spirit inject shock appeared, countless powerhouses knew that it was young Emperor Li Lingtian refining the elixir. This kind of pill refinement had never stopped. A full 3 months had passed. Within 3 months, Li Lingtian had refined countless cleansing pills and great rejuvenation pills. These were not things he had to consider because his current alchemy skills had already reached an extreme. On this day, with a flick of his divine sense, the grade 8 spirit concentration pill formula appeared in front of him. His divine sense entered the pill formula and checked the information inside again. This was not the first time. Even though he was already familiar with the technique of the grade 8 spirit concentration pill formula, he did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. Since he was going to start refining the coagulate spirit pill today, it was a challenge and a breakthrough for him to refine such a pill for the first time. If he could refine a grade 8 coagulate spirit pill, Li Lingtian would be a level 8 divine alchemist. He was a supreme existence. At that time, the entire Black Continent would tremble. It was also a breakthrough for the Alchemist Guild. Because in the Alchemist Guild, there weren't many level 8 saint alchemists. The current level 8 saint alchemists were extremely rare existences. 81 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs. 100,000-year-old herb. 7 by 7, 49 types. 9 types of million-year-old herbs. Li Lingtian withdrew his divine consciousness from the jade slip with a serious expression on his face. Following which, he took out 2 jade bottles. Inside one jade bottle was 10,000-year stalactite milk, while the other jade bottle was the heaven-defying pill. To refine such a pill, the consumption of true origin alone was not something a martial emperor powerhouse could withstand. Level 8 Saint Alchemist, who wasn't a martial saint super powerhouse, but also a martial god powerhouse. Because only super martial saints and martial gods had the strength to consume Zhan Yuan. Otherwise, Zhan Yuan alone would not be able to support the success of the pill refinement. Li Lingtian did not have the slightest confidence either. Hence, he took out the extremely precious 10,000-year stalactite milk when he started his preparations. The stalactite milk would not have the slightest restriction. In this way, he could use it in exchange for the heaven-defying pill to replenish his true essence. This time, for the sake of this grade 8 spirit concentration pill, he didn't care about anything else. After that, he brought out all the medicinal herbs and carefully selected each of them. After an hour, all the preparations were done. Li Lingtian did not start refining the pills after he was done. Instead, he sat down cross-legged to rest. Rest and adjust your mental state to its peak. After an unknown period of time, Li Lingtian opened his eyes. His eyes shone brightly and a confident smile appeared on his face. He was confident no matter what. As an expert, the most important thing was one's mentality. If one's mentality was not good, half of the things they did would fail. The smile remained on his face as he looked at the earth core flame and the array in the sky. Everything was ready. Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. Shen Nome Cauldron. Li Lingshan's divine consciousness moved and the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron in the divine dragon ring appeared before him. At the same time, the Shen Nome Cauldron appeared before him as well. Both cauldrons were the most mysterious and heaven-defying existences in the world. From the beginning to the end, Li Lingtian had no idea what the connection between the two cauldrons was. He also did not know which of the two cauldrons was more powerful. In the past, the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron had entered the Shen Nome Cauldron, but the last two cauldrons were separated and combined. Li Lingtian did not dare to store them in his dantian, and could only store them in the divine dragon ring. The two pill cauldrons were also very free. The Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron was no longer in the Shen Nome Cauldron. It would leave the Shen Nome Cauldron from time to time. As time passed, Li Lingtian felt that the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron was a part of the Shen Nome Cauldron. Moreover, it was the most important part, just like the cauldron core. Looking at the two cauldrons of similar sizes, Li Lingshan's face revealed a gentle expression as if he was treating his friends. "Buddy, it's all up to you this time." Li Lingtian gently caressed the Shen Nome Cauldron and Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. Both cauldrons had been refined by him, so they were connected to each other. His divine sense could sense the changes in the cauldrons. This was something a true alchemist had to do. This was because when refining pills, not only did the pill refiner have to be powerful, but he also had to have the cooperation of the pill cauldron. If the pill cauldron didn't cooperate, it was useless no matter how powerful the pill refiner was. Li Lingtian now possessed two of the most powerful and mysterious cauldrons in the world. Naturally, he had a huge advantage. As a pill refiner, he was always in contact with the pill cauldrons, using his spiritual sense and true essence to nurture the two pill cauldrons. Chapter 755, Spirit Concentration Pill, 2. Buzz 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 buzz. The Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron and the Shen Nome Cauldron seemed to have responded as they let out buzzing sounds. The smile on Li Lingshan's face widened when he saw the reaction of the two cauldrons. He circulated his vital essence and waved his right hand. A wisp of energy appeared and a stream of blood essence appeared on his left hand. The blood essence flew towards the two cauldrons and used the blood essence to nourish them. This way, it was more advantageous for him to communicate with the pill cauldron. Any reaction from the pill cauldron would be transmitted to Li Lingshan's awareness immediately. After being nourished by the blood essence, the Shen Nome Cauldron and the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron started to spin. Sacrifice! With a light shout, he pointed with one hand, and the two cauldrons quickly flew toward the geocentric flame. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron and the Shen Nome Cauldron rotated with each other, gradually forming two ancient light shadows that slowly fused together. Soon, the cauldrons stopped. There were originally two cauldrons, but now there was only one left. The Shen Nome Cauldron was still there, but the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron had disappeared. This was because the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron had already entered the Shen Nome Cauldron and formed the cauldron core. The two cauldrons merged into one and carried the aura of the two cauldrons. Although their appearance did not change, Li Lingtian could clearly sense the changes on them. At the same time, he could also sense the existence of the Heaven and Earth Creation Cauldron. Sacred Sun Body. 9 Suns Sacred Flame. Li Lingtian did not stop when the cauldron fused together. Instead, he unleashed his flaming sacred body and directed a stream of 9 suns sacred flame at the Earth's core fire. The fusion of the 9 suns sacred flame and the Earth core flame began to slowly balance out. Chi-chi, chi-chi. The Earth core flame continued to crackle as the Shen Nome Cauldron slowly revolved above the raging flames. Li Lingtian closed his eyes slightly as his divine perception sensed the changes in the Shen Nome Cauldron. With his cultivation and terrifying spiritual sense, he didn't need to use his eyes for anything. As long as one had a divine sense, it was often more useful than one's eyes. The things seen by the divine sense were the most real, and the things seen by the eyes were mostly fake existences. 2 minutes later, the Shen Nome Cauldron transmitted a message to Li Lingshan's divine consciousness. Exquisite flower. Without any hesitation, Li Lingtian did not even look at it. With a wave of his hand, a emerald herb nearby flew toward the Shen Nome Cauldron. The exquisite flower was one of the 81 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs. This exquisite flower was also used to warm the cauldron. It was a common supplementary medicinal ingredient for warming cauldrons. The Shenong cauldron opened, and the exquisite flower entered the Shenong cauldron. Immediately, a dense spiritual qi was emitted. The 10,000-year-old medicinal herb itself was a body of spiritual qi. It was basically nourished by spiritual qi. Half of the entire medicinal herb was spiritual qi. When it was refined, spiritual energy naturally emitted. Li Ling Tian cast a spell and placed it on the Shenong cauldron. Immediately, the Shenong cauldron began to spin. The exquisite flower gradually turned into a medicinal liquid in the cauldron. The medicinal liquid swirled and rolled in the cauldron, continuously warming it. Ling Yun grass. 10 minutes later, the exquisite flower had completely turned into a medicinal liquid, and its effect on the cauldron was also displayed. Seizing the opportunity, he waved his hand, and another medicinal herb flew toward the cauldron. A pill master's pill refining skills also required a certain level of foresight. If one did not have a certain level of foresight, it would lead to pill refinement failure. This was because after the first medicinal ingredient turned into a medicinal liquid, if it was a little too long, the medicinal liquid would become charred. If it was a little too early, the medicinal liquid would not reach that kind of mature stage. Therefore, the foresight of an alchemist was the most important. The Lingyun grass was also a 10,000-year-old medicinal herb, but the 10,000-year-old medicinal herb was no longer used to warm the cauldron. Instead, it was a supplementary ingredient for real medicinal pills. Threads. Threads. The Shenong cauldron kept emitting sounds. Li Lingshan's eyes remained shut the entire time as he monitored the changes in the cauldron with his divine consciousness. Moreover, while monitoring the changes of the medicinal liquid in the pill cauldron, he also had to monitor the strength of the earth core fire and the degree of the spiritual qi between heaven and earth. These were not existences that could be seen by the eye. Only the soul consciousness could discover them at the same time. Yunxiang essence. Dragon saliva fruit. 100 spirit flower. Manluo fruit. One herb after another entered the Shenong cauldron. After a full day, the 81 10,000-year-old medicinal herbs were completely refined. The medicinal liquid continued to spin inside and fuse with each other. The originally countless colors of the medicinal liquid had now turned into a mysterious color. He couldn't tell what color it was, and the medicinal liquid had a mysterious aura. Li Lingshan's face was deathly pale as his vital essence was depleted. Heaven-defying pill. When he started to refine the pill, he had been thinking about whether to use the heaven-defying pill or the stalactite milk first. Only when his true essence was exhausted did he decide. He hoped that he could rely on the heaven-defying pill to recover his primeval essence and delay for half a day. Then use the 10,000-year stalactite milk to recover his primeval essence. Using this method to recover true essence in turn ensured that the pill would not be scrapped due to insufficient true essence during the refining process. As soon as the heaven-defying pill entered his mouth, it immediately transformed into dense spiritual energy, which transformed into true essence. The true essence quickly entered his dantian. In an instant, the true essence once again recovered to its peak state. Li Lingshan's confidence was restored once again with the massive amount of true essence. However, he did not look too pleased. True essence could be restored, but his divine consciousness could not be restored quickly. Neither could his energy be fully restored. Tian Shan's snow lotus. After his Zhan Yuan recovered, he used his divine sense and threw a heavenly mountain snow lotus into the Shenong cauldron. The Tian Shan snow lotus was a rare treasure from the icebound snow region. The snow lotus alone could greatly enhance a powerhouse's cultivation base. However, it could only be used to refine elixirs in front of Li Ling Tian. However, a million-year-old Tian Shan snow lotus could help a warrior improve his cultivation base. However, if it was refined into a pill by Li Ling Tian, it could benefit more powerhouses. Boom! Inside the cauldron, there was an explosion. It was like a bomb had entered the lake, causing endless waves to rise. Similarly, in the cauldron, countless medicinal liquids began to boil, constantly rejecting the attributes and aura of the Tian Shan snow lotus. Alchemy was the most common thing. Li Ling Tian did not show any signs of panic. His expression remained calm as usual. He waved his hands and cast spells. The magic art entered the cauldron, allowing the Tian Shan snow lotus to be quickly refined. At the same time, it stabilized the various medicinal liquids. This way, the Shengnong cauldron could calm down. After half an hour, the million-year-old Tian Shan snow lotus was finally refined. The refined medicinal liquid also entered the other medicinal liquids and quickly fused with each other. Following that, Li Lingtian continued to toss the million-year-old heavenly materials and earthly treasures into the Shengnong cauldron. Each heavenly treasure required half an hour. The further he went, the longer the time he spent refining the million-year-old medicinal herbs. After a full 3 days, all the herbs were successfully refined. Although they were nearly destroyed a few times along the way, Li Lingtian managed to avert the danger. After 3 days, Li Lingshan's face was pale and he was exhausted. Although he was exhausted and haggard, he heaved a sigh of relief. One of the most crucial steps of pill refinement had been completed. Next, he only needed to refine the 2 most important medicinal ingredients. Naturally, the last step was to inject spirit energy into the pill. The most difficult steps had already been taken, and victory was slowly approaching. In these 3 days, he used 3 heaven-defying pills and 6 drops of 10,000-year stalactite milk. He had finally endured it. Looking at the medicinal liquid in the cauldron, Li Lingtian cast a series of magic arts to allow the medicinal liquid to slowly merge. He was taking a rest while fusing the medicinal liquids, because the next step was to move the most difficult medicinal ingredients. Dark crystal. After resting, Li Lingshan's expression turned grave as he heaved a sigh of relief. With a flick of his soul consciousness, a mysterious gray crystal appeared in his palm. He looked at the crystal in his hand and then at the Shengnong cauldron. This crystal was a nether crystal, the hardest to refine. Although it was a crystal, it was one of the 2 most crucial ingredients for the grade 8 spirit concentration pill. Sacrifice his quintessential essence carried the netherworld crystal and slowly poured it into the Shengnong cauldron. Li Lingshan's expression changed when the nether spirit crystal entered the cauldron. This was because after the netherworld crystal entered the cauldron, it did not undergo the shocking transformation that he had imagined. Instead, it was like a clay ox entering the sea, without the slightest movement. Just like how the nether spirit crystal was ignored, it was precisely because of this that Li Lingtian found it even more troublesome. The medicinal liquid in the Shengnong cauldron was constantly being refined at a high temperature. If this nether crystal could not be refined quickly, the cauldron would be considered useless. His spirit was exhausted, his energy was wasted, and countless medicinal herbs were wasted. Although he had countless assets and did not care about spirit stones, these herbs could not be bought with spirit stones. Usually, it was a unique medicinal ingredient in the world. If it was scrapped, it would take a long time to find the medicinal ingredient to refine the spirit concentration pill again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Inside the Shengnong cauldron, the medicinal liquid was being refined continuously. As time passed, the medicinal liquid gradually solidified. Although it had not yet reached the point of solidifying into a pill, he could clearly feel that the medicinal liquid's thickness was gradually deepening. If it was too long, the medicinal liquid would completely solidify. The calm expression on Li Lingshan's face gradually disappeared as he witnessed the situation. Instead, he became anxious. Boom! At this moment, a muffled sound came from inside the Shengnong cauldron. Li Lingshan's divine consciousness looked into the Shengnong cauldron after hearing the dull thud. When he saw the situation inside the Shengnong cauldron, his expression became strange, but gradually, the strange expression on his face became excited. It was as if he had seen the dawn. That was because the heaven and earth creation cauldron that had fused together began to separate and form a single cauldron. Within the heaven and earth creation cauldron, the netherworld crystal was also being refined by itself. Chapter 756. Spirit Concentration Pill. 2. The underworld crystals in the heaven and earth creation cauldron were being refined continuously. Although the other medicinal liquids were slowly solidifying, it was much better than the beginning. When Li Lingtian saw this, he quickly cast a 9-sun sacred flame to balance the earth's core fire and reduce the power of the flames. At the same time, more flames were moved to the center of the heaven-earth creation cauldron. Chi chi shi shi chi chi from time to time, Sizzling sounds could be heard from the cauldron as the underworld crystals were being refined. 2 hours later, the underworld crystal had completely turned into a medicinal liquid. The heaven and earth creation cauldron descended, and the medicinal liquid of the underworld crystal immediately fused with all the other medicinal liquids. Li Lingtian had already expected that the Shengnong cauldron would turn upside down. When the Yin underworld crystal and the medicinal liquid fused, he had already cast a few spells and used his true essence to suppress the pill cauldron. At the same time, he took out a Xian crystal with his soul consciousness. This mystic crystal was many times more powerful than the supreme spiritual stones. Moreover, this mystic crystal carried a trace of mysterious divine qi. Li Lingtian did not have many mystic crystals in his possession. Every single one of them was an extinct treasure in the world. This time, he had to use one Xian crystal to refine the spirit concentration pill. After the mystic crystal entered the Shengnong cauldron, Li Lingtian had learned from his experience with the Umbra crystal. Now, he had a way to separate the heaven and earth creation cauldron when he refined the mystic crystal. He had to use the heaven and earth creation cauldron to refine the mystic crystal. Otherwise, when he refined the mystic crystal later, all the medicinal liquid would be wasted. Boom! 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 However, what he did not expect was that after the mystic crystal entered the heaven and earth creation cauldron, it would explode with a shocking change. It was tens of thousands of times more powerful than the nether crystal. The sky trembled continuously, and the Shengnong cauldron also trembled. Suppress! The expression on Li Lingshan's face changed when he saw this. Then, he let out a light shout and used his terrifying true essence and pressure to suppress the pill cauldron in case he could not control it. However, the terrifying divine qi of the mystic crystal burst out at this moment. Even if Li Lingtian had the mysterious divine qi in his body, he was no match for the power of the mystic crystal's outburst at this moment. He spat out a mouthful of blood, which entered the cauldron. Something strange happened. When the blood entered the Shengnong cauldron, the medicinal liquid inside began to spin rapidly. The mystic crystal also received the blood and began to absorb it. As the Xian crystal absorbed the blood, the Nine Suns sacred flame quickly refined it. The result was beyond Li Lingshan's imagination. He did not expect such an accident to happen. If not for this accident, he really would not have known to go to the sect to stop the Shengnong cauldron from trembling. The mystic crystal contained a shocking divine qi. Li Lingtian also had divine qi in his body. Furthermore, there were a few godheads in his dantian. Naturally, there was divine qi in his blood. When the divine qi met the divine qi inside the Xian crystal, the two were connected. At this moment, the mystic crystal began to be refined and gradually formed a medicinal liquid. In just a few moments, the mystic crystal was refined. This speed was much faster than refining medicinal herbs that had been refined for 100,000 years. However, the space was trembling violently. Countless array formations trembled and shattered at this moment, as if the world was about to be destroyed. Fuse! Let's go! Li Lingtian shouted softly. His face was filled with confidence and a hint of solemnity. As soon as he finished speaking, a spell was cast using a mysterious technique. Immediately, all the medicinal liquids quickly fused together. Boom! Gotcha! Just as the medicinal liquid was fusing, the dozens of arrays in the sky were destroyed in an instant. Only a dozen or so spirit-gathering arrays were not destroyed because they did not have the slightest sealing effect. They only absorbed the spiritual energy in the air. The earth core flame began to sway. With Li Lingtian at the center, a terrifying divine qi was emitted continuously. Li Lingshan's body was also emitting a mysterious divine qi which merged with the medicinal liquid. At the same time, the aura of the Umbra crystal and the mystic crystal was connected to Li Lingtian. The Shengnong cauldron was also spinning continuously. In the sky, a strange and magical scene appeared. Streams of colorful spirit qi formed an independent aura field and Li Lingtian became the master of this aura field. He waved his hands and cast spells one after another. At the same time, countless spiritual qi entered the Shengnong cauldron. Spirit Gathering Array. Activate. The endless spiritual qi seemed to be huge, but it was not enough to be used. Li Lingtian flicked his finger and a stream of finger force shot into the distance. Instantly, the Spirit Gathering Array was activated, and a shocking amount of spirit chi surged from all directions of the imperial palace. The spirit chi absorbed by the dozen spirit-gathering formations finally satisfied the needs of the Shenong cauldron. Li Lingtian was nourished by the endless spirit chi and his quintessential essence was quickly restored. The shocking fluctuation of spiritual energy attracted the attention of countless experts. Even when Li Lingtian was refining pills, he only absorbed spirit chi from the depths of the sky. The surrounding spirit chi did not have much of an impact. But now, the spiritual energy fluctuations in Liberty Sacred City were too great. Countless experts naturally sensed the fluctuation of spiritual energy, and all of them revealed puzzled expressions. At the same time, they sensed the movement of the spiritual chi and sensed that the spiritual chi was surging towards the imperial palace. They were extremely curious and did not know why. At this moment, all the experts were completely shocked. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded in the imperial palace. At the same time, a 5-colored mysterious spiritual energy pillar soared into the sky. The appearance of the 5-colored spiritual energy pillar stunned all the experts. What's going on? It can't be a spirit infusion. The spirit-injecting assault only uses a single type of spirit chi. Now, it's a 5-colored spirit chi. Could it really be a spirit-imbued assault? Could it be that young Master D is refining super pills? What terrifying spiritual energy! It's thousands of times more powerful than the previous spirit infusion. Could it be that young Master is refining a Tier 8 spirit concentration pill? Some time ago, young Master obtained the spirit concentration pill formula. Could it be that he's refining it now? All of a sudden, the experts in the entire Liberty Sacred City were discussing animatedly as they looked at the void in horror. In the void, the colorful spiritual energy pillar had not stopped. It was still shuttling up endlessly. This height had already exceeded the scope of the divine sense of an expert. The divine sense was suppressed by the endless pressure in the sky, but this spiritual chi directly shattered the void and bombarded the 9 heavens. Tang Qingyue and the others were also looking at the spiritual pillar in the palace. Their faces were filled with excitement and shock, but they were also filled with happiness. Boom! Deep in the void, after a long time, a terrifying muffled sound erupted. After the muffled sound, a halo appeared in the depths. There were no clouds for 10,000 miles, but it was all colored. The color of the void turned this world into a colorful world. At this moment, Liberty Sacred City was a perfect world. This scene stunned all the citizens. A shocking amount of spiritual energy surged down from the void along the spiritual energy pillar. However, this spiritual energy carried a mysterious aura. It was not just spiritual energy. No one knew exactly what it was. Li Lingtian was the only one who knew that the spirit chi was immortal spirit chi, and it had a mysterious aura about it. Although the divine chi was very rare, he was sure that there was a trace of divine chi inside. The immortal chi and divine chi were enough to refine the spirit concentration pill. The strange and mysterious spirit chi entered the array formation. Li Lingtian and the elixir cauldron spun continuously while the medicinal liquid in the elixir cauldron was connected to Li Lingtian. Li Lingtian and the Shenong cauldron began to absorb the mysterious immortal chi. After half an hour, the spiritual energy pillar in the air finally disappeared. But in the imperial palace, the immortal spiritual energy was extremely dense. The entire imperial palace was filled with immortal spiritual energy. When Huangfu Yuyan and the others saw this drifting immortal spiritual energy, they hurriedly sat cross-legged on the ground and began to cultivate. This was a rare opportunity. If they missed it, it would be very difficult to find it again. Immortal Chi had endless benefits for martial artists. It had heaven-defying benefits for the improvement of cultivation and breakthroughs. The world fell silent. However, countless experts still did not calm down. They continued to discuss. This was because the pills refined by Li Lingtian might have surpassed level 7. Even if it did not exceed level 7, the terrifying degree of the spiritual energy was thousands of times more terrifying than before. Li Lingtian watched as the spirit chi pillar disappeared and the true essence in his body was completely restored. Moreover, there was a trace of opportunity in his body, an opportunity to break through, but he did not dare to break through now. He was not confident of breaking through. He had to refine the pill and use the power of the pill and that trace of opportunity to break through. Inside the Shenong cauldron, a mysterious divine qi was floating. The medicinal liquid was constantly absorbing this mysterious divine qi. The spiritual energy was exhausted. The second spirit infusion was about to begin. Boom! Another shocking 5-colored spiritual qi soared into the sky. The explosion sounded like a battle between martial saints. This time, the spiritual energy was twice as large as the previous one. It was as if the world was connected by this spiritual energy pillar. Boom! 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 7 consecutive spirit-infused shockwaves, each one twice as powerful as the previous one. Towards the end, the entire palace was filled with mysterious spiritual energy. In Liberty Holy City, billions of warriors were looking at the void with excitement. This was because they were all looking forward to the next attack. As long as the next attack appeared, it would be the 8th attack. The 8th spirit-imbued strike signified that Li Lingtian was refining a Grade 8 pill. Grade 8 pills were the exclusive rights of a Level 8 divine alchemist. Even if Li Lingtian failed to refine the pill, he was still a Level 8 divine alchemist. This was because an alchemist who achieved 8 spirit-imbued strikes was already a Level 8 divine alchemist. In the Xian continent, the most powerful saint alchemist was only a Level 8 saint alchemist, and he had only refined a cauldron of Level 8 pills. If Li Lingtian were to become a Level 8 divine alchemist, it would be a grand event for the entire Xian continent, and it would shake the entire Xian continent. Chapter 757. Grade 8 Spirit Concentration Pill. 1. In this way, Li Lingtian's status would be supreme. At least not many people were foolish enough to provoke Li Lingtian. The Xiaoyao dynasty was one of a kind with a Level 8 divine alchemist like Li Lingtian. Not to mention the Black Continent, even in the entire divine martial continent, there was only one Level 8 divine alchemist. After the 7th spirit infusion attack, the sky became quiet. Li Lingtian was also looking at the Shenong cauldron seriously. His divine perception was observing the changes in the medicinal liquid. After 7 spirit injections, the medicinal liquid had basically solidified and the pill was about to be formed. At this moment, he began to hesitate whether or not he should use the pill tribulation lightning essence. If this medicinal pill could attract a pill tribulation and cause the medicinal pili to mutate, then the power and effect of this medicinal pill would reach an unimaginable level. However, what he had to worry about now was that if he used the pill tribulation thunder essence, it would cause an accident and cause the pill refinement to fail. At that time, he would cry to death. "I'm going all out." Li Lingtian was deep in thought as he controlled the Shenong cauldron with his divine consciousness while stirring the medicinal liquid in the cauldron with a magic art. After thinking for a long time, his eyes revealed a resolute look. He immediately decided that since he had already reached this step, even if he failed, the pill refinement this time would be considered a success. He would continue next time. Isn't success and failure only half? After making up his mind, his face regained its confident expression. A strong self-confidence made him even more mysterious and ethereal. With a flick of his divine sense, the pill tribulation lightning essence appeared in front of him. After the pill tribulation lightning essence appeared, it immediately floated in the air in front of him. At this moment, the surrounding spiritual energy also rapidly weakened. He then used a hand seal to activate the spirit infusion attack. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded in the palace. The appearance of this sound immediately made countless martial artists cheer. This spirit-imbued impact was the 8th. The appearance of the 8th spirit-imbued impact meant that Li Lingtian had already proven his Tao as a Level 8 divine alchemist. A shocking pillar of spiritual energy soared into the sky, and the spiritual energy rushed straight into the 9 heavens. Above the 9 heavens, the halo of spiritual energy exploded. Endless mysterious spiritual energy surged down along the spiritual energy pillar and finally entered the imperial palace. The 8th spirit-imbued assault. It's really the 8th spirit infusion. A Tier 8 medicinal pill is about to be born. Young Master D is refining a Tier 8 pill. He's about to become a Tier 8 pill saint. Young Master D's alchemy skills have reached a height that people can only look up to. This pill Tao cultivation is pulling more and more distance away from alchemists. This will be the witness of a miracle in the Black Continent. I will personally witness the birth of a level 8 alchemy saint. Looking at the spiritual energy pillar in the void, all the citizens and experts cheered and discussed. At that moment, Li Lingtian was known as a level 8 divine alchemist in Liberty Sacred City. Countless alchemists looked up at the sky with sincere expressions. Li Lingtian was a god that they could never compare to in alchemy. Li Lingshan's alchemy Dao would never be something they could compare to. No one would ever dare to compare to him. However, to everyone's surprise, something unexpected happened. Boom, boom, rumble, crackle, kacha-kacha. In the air, there were bursts of explosions and thunder. Endless purple lightning arcs crisscrossed in the air. The originally cloudless colorful world turned into a time of lightning in an instant. The endless colorful world and the endless lightning world fused together, just like the end of the world. The appearance of the lightning stunned everyone. However, he immediately thought of something. Not only was his face not shocked, but it was even more excited. Pill Tribulation. The Pill Tribulation has appeared. The first time young Master D refined an 8th grade medicinal pill, he triggered a Pill Tribulation. The Pill Tribulation has really appeared. There's hope for the Tier 8 medicinal pill to mutate. Countless experts cheered when they saw the lightning and thunder in the sky. They knew that the appearance of the lightning at this time was the arrival of the Pill Tribulation. It was Li Lingshan's first time refining a Tier 8 pill and he was a Tier 8 divine alchemist. Yet, he was faced with a Pill Tribulation. Wasn't this too heaven-defying? While he was in a state of shock and excitement, Li Lingshan's expression was grave. Because after the Pill Tribulation was triggered, the Shenong Cauldron was constantly bombarded by lightning. This Pill Tribulation was the Pill Tribulation of an 8th grade medicinal pill. Its power was countless times stronger than that of a 7th grade medicinal pill. More importantly, balls of light appeared in the middle of the Shenong Cauldron. Li Lingtian was well aware that the halos were the divine qi. All the rare immortal spirit qi and divine qi had been gathered together. If he was not careful at this time, the medicinal pill could be scrapped at any time. While controlling the Shenong Cauldron, he bombarded the sky with lightning and allowed endless 5-colored spiritual energy to enter the Shenong Cauldron. One after another, he pointed his magic arts into the Shenong Cauldron, and the magic arts triggered the mysterious divine qi in the air. The congealing spirit pill was to condense mysterious divine qi into the medicinal pill to achieve the supreme power of the medicinal pill to attack the realm of a warrior. In the past, the pills he refined were all ordinary pills that increased his cultivation. At most, it was a 7th grade Great Recovery pill, but he had never come into contact with divine qi. The grade 8 spirit concentration pill that he was refining now had already come into contact with divine qi. Moreover, this spirit concentration pill was the most mysterious and powerful existence among the Tier 8 medicinal pills. Refining it was even more difficult. Endless Pill Tribulation lightning and 5-colored spiritual energy converged at this moment. Li Lingshan's eyes flashed with determination as a trace of blood essence slid into the cauldron. Chi-chi as the blood essence was injected into the Shenong Cauldron, it began to churn. The medicinal liquid completely solidified, forming powerful medicinal pills. In his divine sense, the 36 5-colored pills were emitting a faint halo. It was a mysterious halo, and there were traces of patterns on it. These were the characteristics of the mutated pills. Li Lingtian smiled when he saw these pills because he had refined them himself. Every single one of them had cost him endless effort, and now he had finally succeeded. However, even though he had succeeded now, he did not relax at all. This was the critical moment to improve the quality of the medicinal pill. There was also the Pill Tribulation and spiritual qi in the air. If he was not careful, the successful medicinal pill would also be destroyed. Boom! As the last thunderclap fell, the world finally quieted down. The pillar of spiritual energy also slowly disappeared, surging into the palace like a galaxy. Seeing this, countless martial artists looked in the direction of the palace in anticipation. It was all in the past. Whether the pill was successful or not would depend on Li Lingshan's announcement. The spiritual energy in the palace was getting denser and denser. Tang Qingyue and the others were cultivating at this time, receiving the tempering of the immortal spiritual energy. After being tempered by the immortal spiritual energy, His cultivation level increased rapidly. Li Lingtian could feel the change in Tang Qingyue and the rest's cultivation base. Excitement was written all over his face. Even if he failed to refine the pill, it was worth it this time. This was because Tang Qingyue and the others had already reached the 9th level of the Supreme Realm and were only one step away from the Martial Emperor realm. From the looks of it, this spiritual energy was enough for them to advance to the Martial Supreme Realm. Qing Ling's cultivation had also reached the peak of the 3rd heaven of the Martial Emperor realm. Realizing this, he no longer paid attention to Huangfu Yuyan and the others. He began to pay attention to the changes in the pills in his Shenong cauldron. The 5-colored halos on the 36 pills grew stronger and stronger. In the end, the halo grew even stronger. When it reached its limit, Li Lingshan's hands were constantly waving as a series of magic arts appeared before him. The spell formed a net. Then, with a tap of his hand, the net entered the Shenong cauldron. With a slight sound, all 36 pills were sealed. All their power and effects were sealed. After being sealed, the power of the pills would not be lost. Pill formed. Li Lingtian shouted softly and a mysterious light shadow shot out from the Shenong cauldron. The light shadow kept spinning in the air, absorbing the spiritual qi in the air and dancing happily. It carried a dense spirituality. The medicinal pill already had its own spirituality. This would only appear when the medicinal pill reached an extreme. Moreover, in order to use this medicinal pill, the seal on the medicinal pill had to be undone, and then a connection had to be established with the medicinal pill. Only after a long time could the shocking power of the medicinal pill be unleashed. The pills danced freely in the air while Li Lingtian hovered in the air. All the pills revolved around Li Lingtian. Just like a group of adorable children, Li Lingshan's heart was suddenly filled with a sense of kindness. These pills were personally crafted by him and he had put in all his effort. Half an hour later, Li Lingshan's expression changed. Then, he quickly put the pills into 36 jade bottles. Due to his cultivation base at the 9th level of the Martial Emperor realm, the opportunity had arrived. The opportunity that he had been waiting for a long time had finally arrived at this moment. If he missed this opportunity, he did not know when he would encounter it again. With a flick of his consciousness, all the jade bottles entered the divine dragon ring, leaving only one jade bottle. He sat cross-legged and opened the jade bottle with his divine sense. The pill inside the jade bottle floated in the air. The array on this pill was created, so there was naturally no need to crack it. He used it directly and looked at the pill seriously. He pondered for a while. You were forged by me. It's up to you to become a martial saint. Li Lingtian spoke softly as if he was talking to the coagulate spirit pill. He then tossed the pill into his mouth. The pill quickly entered his dantian, but it did not turn into a medicinal liquid immediately. Instead, it needed to be slowly refined. The main reason was that this pill carried a mysterious divine qi. The congealing spirit pill gathered endless mysterious power. Only by obtaining this power could one break through to become a martial saint expert. Gradually, Li Lingtian entered a state of clarity and forgot everything around him. Everything in the outside world had nothing to do with him. His world was the magical world between the 9th heaven Martial Emperor realm and the Martial Saint realm. As long as he broke through this world, he could become a martial saint powerhouse. Chapter 758. Startling Auspicious Cloud, 1. The realm of a martial saint was a hurdle on the path of cultivation. All warriors believed that there were 9 realms in the divine martial continent. However, there were only 4 realms in the divine martial continent. The 5 realms of warrior, warrior spirit, warrior king, martial grandmaster, and martial emperor were a major realm and the most basic levels of warriors. This was because cultivating these levels would only increase one's strength by a little. It was a completely different world when one reached the Supreme Realm and Martial Emperor realm. Otherwise, this small realm would not have gone from level 9 to level 9. Revered martial artists and martial sovereigns had already come into contact with some powerful divine arts, which were far from what experts below the Martial Emperor realm could compare to. Therefore, the Supreme Realm and the Supreme Realm were the second realm. The 2 realms were completely different from the other realms. In these 2 realms, the cultivation and strength were not much different. There was no difference between heaven and earth. However, When one reached the peak of the 9th-level Martial Emperor realm, it would be extremely difficult to become a Martial Saint. After all, the Martial Saint realm was the third major realm. Compared to the Martial Supreme realm, the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Moreover, in order to become a Martial Saint, all kinds of instincts in the body had to be sublimated. The true essence had to be sublimated, and so did the aura and temperament. In other words, he had to be reborn. Li Lingtian had already reached the 9th firmament Martial Emperor realm. In the eyes of the powerhouses, Li Lingtian was still in the 2nd realm. Only those who had reached the 3rd stage of the Martial Saint realm would be considered as a true powerhouse. As for the Martial God, Li Lingtian had encountered a few of them, but he would never be able to come into contact with this Martial God at this point in time. One couldn't aim too high on the path of cultivation. He didn't dare to aim too high either, because doing so would forever dull his state of mind at the bottom. In his heart, Li Lingtian recalled all the opportunities and tribulations in his life. From his previous life to this life, he had gone from an unknown martial apprentice to the current 9th firmament Martial Emperor realm, becoming a super powerhouse in the Azure Continent, the Green Continent, and the Serenity Continent. His state of mind became calmer and calmer until it finally reached a state where there were no ripples in an ancient well. He didn't know how much time had passed before he opened his eyes. His eyes flashed with a bright light. His divine sense swept through his body and discovered that the spirit concentration pill in his body had completely transformed into a halo. This halo stood proudly in his dantian. It formed an independent world with the other true essence, and there was no friction between them. Moreover, this halo carried a shocking divine qi. Although it was only a wisp of divine qi, it was enough. The halo flickered with divine qi, like a dazzling sun shining on the sea area. The sea area was his current vital essence, and the 5-colored golden core was constantly rotating, defending its own world. However, the few heaven-defying treasures in his dantian completely ignored all of this. They each absorbed true essence and trained themselves. It was as if everything outside had nothing to do with them. When Li Lingtian saw this, a smile appeared on his face. His divine sense moved, and he mobilized the halo to bombard the sea area. The halo had divine qi. It was on a different level from the quintessential essence in the first place. Now that Li Lingtian had forcefully suppressed it, the divine qi immediately dispersed into the quintessential essence. Boom! Li Lingtian's awareness exploded and he almost fainted. In his dantian, it was as if a destructive attack had landed in the sea, and his true essence surged. The golden core also began to tremble and spin continuously. He did not know that the moment his spirit concentration pill entered his true essence, the outside world seemed to have turned upside down at the same time as the explosion in his sea of consciousness. Countless powerhouses were waiting for Li Lingtian's announcement. However, after waiting for a long time, Li Lingtian still did not appear. They began to suspect that Li Lingtian had failed to refine the Tier 8 pill. They felt a tinge of regret because Li Lingtian was now a level 8 divine alchemist. Furthermore, he had triggered a pill tribulation while refining a level 8 pill. Such an achievement was unparalleled in the mystic continent. However, after failing, these experts still felt some regret. All the powerhouses and citizens were still waiting for Li Lingtian to announce his failure or success. Similarly, Huangfu Yuyan and the others were also waiting. They had already broken through the martial honored realm and reached the martial emperor realm. Their cultivation had soared by a large margin. They were waiting for Li Lingtian's announcement, but none of them dared to approach Li Lingtian's place for fear of disturbing him. What awaited them was not Li Lingtian's announcement of success or failure but a deafening explosion. Rumble! It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. The space shook. This explosion came from between heaven and earth and pressed down from all directions, as if it wanted to explode this space. Moreover, in the sky, auspicious clouds began to gather. This wonderful and beautiful world immediately attracted all the martial artists. What a beautiful cloud! This is an auspicious cloud. An auspicious cloud. It's an auspicious cloud that only appears when a martial emperor breaks through to a martial saint. That's not right. The chances of a martial monarch realm expert meeting auspicious clouds when he breaks through to the martial saint realm are 1 in 10,000. Moreover, those auspicious clouds are very small. There have never been so many auspicious clouds. Could it be that a martial saint has broken through to a martial god? Impossible. Our Liberty Holy City doesn't have a 9th heavenly layer martial saint. It's impossible for anyone to break through to the martial god realm. Just now, young Master Dis pill refinement triggered the pill tribulation. Now, this situation has occurred. Could it be that young Master D is breaking through? That's impossible. Young Master D is only at the 9th level of the martial emperor realm. Even if he breaks through, there's not a 1 in 10,000 chance of encountering auspicious clouds. Moreover, even if young Master D encounters auspicious clouds, it's impossible for him to have so many auspicious clouds. This pressure and auspicious clouds are definitely not simple. Could it be that Big Brother Ling Tian is breaking through? That's right. It's Big Brother Ling Tian who's breaking through. Young Master is breaking through? Looking at the 5-colored auspicious clouds in the sky, all the martial artists cried out in surprise. Immediately, discussions broke out in Liberty Sacred City. They were all extremely shocked by this strange omen because a few experts knew that they would encounter auspicious clouds when they broke through to the martial saint realm. However, there were too many auspicious clouds, which made countless experts puzzled and curious. Xuanyuan Yingying and the others looked at the changes in the sky and sensed the changes in their bodies. This feeling was due to the fact that both he and Li Ling Tian possessed the 5-element sacred body. Although Tang Qingyue and the rest could sense it a little, it was not as strong as Xuanyuan Yingying's. Xuanyuan Yingying's face lit up with excitement when she realized this. She quickly found a quiet spot to sit cross-legged and meditate as she did not dare to disturb Li Ling Tian. Even though she could follow Li Lingshan's cultivation breakthrough, her every move at this critical moment would also affect Li Ling Tian. Fortunately, she had done so. Otherwise, Li Ling Tian would have failed at that moment. After all, Li Ling Tian had now formed an independent world. The slightest influence from the outside world would cause him to fail his breakthrough. This was a blessing in disguise. The auspicious clouds in the sky were originally only a few miles wide, but gradually, more and more auspicious clouds appeared. In just a moment, the entire sky was filled with endless auspicious clouds. Li Lingshan's eyes remained tightly shut as he scanned his surroundings with his divine perception. His entire body had entered a state of independence, and his divine sense was inspecting his dantian. All of his energy was focused on his divine qi, genuine vitality, and golden core. Boom! Boom! Inside his dantian, the true essence was like a raging sea that was constantly surging. The halo of divine qi shuttled back and forth inside, but it could not fuse together. No matter how hard Li Ling Tian tried to suppress it, the halo of true essence and divine energy could not merge. In the sea of Zhan Yuan, the halo of divine qi and the golden core were like a 5-colored sun rising from the east. They formed a magical and beautiful scene. However, this scene made Li Ling Tian feel miserable. It seemed that the constant turbulence in his dantian did not affect him much, but his entire body was constantly enduring destruction. His sea of consciousness was shaken, and his dantian was in turmoil. This pain was something that outsiders could never describe. Blood trickled down the corner of Li Lingshan's mouth as his face turned pale. Rumble! At this moment, a blue arc of lightning appeared in the sky. Not only did the blue arc of lightning distort in the air, but the space also distorted. At the same time, the blue electric arc that was originally only the size of a finger instantly turned into the size of a bucket. The electric arc was like a giant python that bombarded down from the void. The power of the dive directly pierced through the void. Wherever the electric arc passed, the air was destroyed. The electric arc struck toward the imperial palace. At that moment, all the powerhouses had a rough idea that it was Li Ling Tian who was breaking through. This was because the spot where the electric arc struck was exactly where Li Ling Tian had started refining pills. However, the powerhouses were extremely shocked because the auspicious cloud at this moment was countless times stronger than when the martial god powerhouses were breaking through. The two of them were on completely different levels. Li Ling Tian was only a martial supreme, but the auspicious cloud he triggered during his breakthrough was even stronger than the one when a martial saint broke through to the martial god realm. No one knew what this concept was. Li Lingshan's eyes were filled with despair when he felt the threat of destruction. The cultivation of a powerhouse was already against the will of the heavens. Now that Li Ling Tian was about to become a martial saint, it was even more so. This was because he was only in his 20s, but he had a lifespan of 500 to 600 years. This was heaven-defying, but he did not suffer the wrath of heaven. Since he had no chance to be punished by the heavens had decided to punish Li Lingtian together with all the heavenly punishments for breaking through at this moment. To go against the heavens was to go against the heavens. If you go against the heavens will destroy you. This punishment is the heavenly tribulation. Every expert had to accept the heavenly tribulation. The strength of the heavenly tribulation depended on the cultivation and strength of the expert. The experts who could withstand the heavenly tribulation were even stronger. If they could not withstand the heavenly tribulation, they would just wait to dissipate into thin air. The heavenly tribulation had finally descended upon Li Lingtian. Li Lingshan's lips curled into a bitter smile as he watched the destructive heavenly tribulation descend. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.